just enjoy my life and just have some chill time, and I think it's made me a better athlete and it made competing for me that much more fun and exciting. So yeah, frustrating at the time, but I wouldn't change anything.
Well, that was Keely Hodgkinson. We'll get thoughts on that from Paula and from Ed in a second. But full-time whistle has blown at Midtjylland against Nottingham Forest. Charlie Slater.
And we are heading for extra time. Nottingham Forest beat Midtjylland by 2-1 to tie it up 2-2 on aggregate. Forest goals coming either side of half-time. Dominguez and Ryan Yates couldn't keep a clean sheet in the second half, though. A raft of chances down the stretch. Neither side could find a breakthrough. And so we've got another 30 minutes to decide who will meet either Porto or Stuttgart.
Yeah, 90 minutes is up in the Conference League as well. John Akers.
Extra time here as well. AEK Larnaca won, Crystal Palace won. Palace taking the lead through Sarr. They had other opportunities as well. Larnaca equalised a header from a corner. Then they went down to 10, but Palace couldn't find a way through with the advantage for the last 17 minutes plus added time. So it will be extra time and penalties for a place in the quarter-final.
So let's go back to talking about the Athletics World Indoor Championships starting tomorrow. It comes thick and fast, Paula, doesn't it? 3 days, action-packed. And Keely, you know, so she's going to have to be on it from the very first moment, isn't she, if she's going to win this title, at the last one to add to her collection.
She is, but the form that she's in, to be honest, the heats should be, I'm not going to say a walk in the park, but they should be fairly easy for her. A tougher one for Izzy, who goes in the final of the heats. I think Keely's in the first one. So she really will be trying, I think, to be as dominant as possible while saving as much energy as possible, because perhaps in the back of her mind, I think it's not just the title, it's also the statement and the way that she does it and the manner that she does it, and she would like to do that in a fast time come the final.
And I saw some good quotes from Georgia Hunter-Bell, Ed, earlier on today as well, the team captain, as you say, about the fact that, you know, she was saying you've got to appreciate these moments. And she walked away from the sport and then came back to it and won an Olympic medal. And 1,500 metres as well. Is that going to be a better one for her to be able to just focus on that and not what's going on around her?
I think to see her back in that more familiar event, that'll be great to see. But just think about the 2025 that she had last year as a part of the legacy of the pandemic. We had an extra World Indoors. We had the World Indoors that we should have had in 2020 slotted into the gap between the 2024 one and the one which will start tomorrow. So we had a European Indoors, and then a few weeks later we had a World Indoors. Georgia Hunter-Bell, fourth in the women's 1500 at that European Indoors in Apeldoorn, and then the very next week, or just a few weeks later rather, she came back and she claimed a bronze medal in that 1500 metres at the World Indoors. To go from fourth at the Europeans and to be so disappointed with how she ran and the outcome there, to then bounce straight back, it really spoke of her character. We knew she was the Olympic bronze medalist in that event from Paris, but then at the end of a long season, all the way into September, pipping Keely Hodgkinson to the silver medal in the 800 metres at the Tokyo World Championships. It was a late start, but wow, has she made up for lost time in the last couple of years or so since she's been able to dedicate herself full time to the sport.
Well, let's focus away from the middle distance and to the sprints, because Jeremiah Azu is looking to defend his title in an exciting field in the men's 60 metres, including Jamaica's Olympic silver medalist Kashane Thompson, as well as Trayvon Bromell and Jordan Anthony from the USA. Let's hear from Jeremiah Azu.
I think it starts from the way I was brought up. Faith is a huge part of it, so I don't stand on the line really looking at anyone else. In that moment, I'm getting to use my gift, which is a God-given gift. Yeah, it's a privilege, you know, and it's so much fun to be in the position that I'm in. And I love competing, I love entertaining people. Kind of thrive when the pressure's on in the arena. It's something that I look forward to. It's when those reps are hard in training that you think about the end goal. When I get out there, I just leave it all on the track and I get to enjoy myself, I get to express myself, and what a career I've got, you know.
He's got swagger, Paula, hasn't he, Jeremiah?
Yeah, I mean, I think he needs to have, and you want to come here and have confidence, and that's the right way, in my view, to be going into the race, is go out there, leave it all out on the track and put absolutely all that you have into it out there. That's what every athlete on the team, I would hope, will be going out trying to do.
And for the women's sprints as well, Paula, Amy Hunt, silver medalist in the Worlds, and Dina Asher-Smith is back.
Yeah, and it's great. It's great to see Dina back looking so strong and ready to go, and Amy kind of still riding on that wave from last year and just getting better and better. So it's a really, really strong place to be coming into. They probably quite like the fact that the focus is all on Keely for the nailed on, and they can just get on quietly with doing what they do best and getting the racing done on the track.
And what kind of competition, Ed, are they going to face? Because it's a strong field, including the Olympic champion Julian Alfred.
Yes, it is. And a point was made at the press conference today. Eva Svoboda, also a formidable sprinter indoors over the 60 metres. Polish, of course, competing in front of a home crowd. It was put to her, there are 15 women at the top of the rankings covered by a tenth of a second. It's been really tight so far this season. Amy Hunt, when she did so well last year at the indoors, she was fifth in the 60 metres. She said then, in my fourth favourite event, so fourth favourite after the 200, the 100 and the relays outdoors. That silver medal was spectacular last year in Tokyo, and there was an athlete who improved week on week through that indoor season, right through the Diamond League, all the way to the Tokyo World Championship, to now be a contender, but it will be incredibly tight. Julian Alfred, it sounds ridiculous to say about the Olympic champion, not a natural 60 metre sprinter, but I think Amy Hunt's strength might lie up at 200 metres, but very little to choose between them, and specialists like Svoboda at home will continue to be a factor as well.
Back with the athletics very shortly, but they are into extra time in the Europa League last 16. Last thing, Charlie Slater, that Nottingham Forest would have wanted with a huge game in the league on Sunday.
That's a very good point. Yeah, absolutely. Of course, Nottingham Forest playing against Tottenham on Sunday, both of them hovering around the relegation zone. And Vitor Pereira made 9 changes for this game to try and rest some of those stars, but they're all on now. And Lorenzo Luca just put the ball in the back of the net just 30 seconds into this period of extra time. Lovely setup from Ola Aina, but the linesman's flag was up on the near touchline. Luca was offside. And so the score remains Michelin 1, Nottingham Forest 2 on the night, but 2 apiece on aggregate.
We're talking about the goal fest in the Champions League during the week, John Akers, but really tight by the sound of it in Cyprus. Ike Larnaca against Crystal Palace.
Well, once Palace got the lead, you felt they had a real chance here to progress in normal time. But we're in extra time, 3 minutes of it played. It's all Palace because Larnaca are down to 10. But we are into extra time and it's 1-1.
Let's go back then to talking about the World Indoor Championships in Poland starting tomorrow. And Josh Kerr, Paula, good to see him back. But after the calf injury that he had last year, is it a surprise that he's back so soon?
I think he's done very well, and he's worked extremely hard. I think his whole team around him, he's spoken about how he got back onto running on an anti-gravity treadmill to be able to stretch out and work on that calf earlier, and then up to altitude training earlier than he'd hoped. So he's in a good place. He has raced already. Still maybe had some work to do in that race, but I think between then and now he will have put those finishing touches to it. I saw him out running earlier and he looked very confident, excited to go, which is always a good sign.
And Ed, who else are you looking forward to watching over the next few days in Poland?
It's it's got a lot of youth in it from a British perspective, this team. But in terms of the established names, we spoke a little bit about Amy Hunt, but also Dina Asher-Smith and Molly Caudry, who won this World Indoor title in 2024 in Glasgow and has had some rotten luck for different reasons pretty much ever since. Caudry will compete on the final day in that women's pole vault. Then you have the big global stars as well, Ellie Mondo Duplantis in the men's pole vault. Just like Keely Hodgkinson, he's a world record breaker again this indoor season, but in his case, last week he broke his own world record for the 15th time, 6 metres 31. Now, and he did that at a meet in Sweden, which is named after him, the Mondo Classic. That will be an incredible night, the men's pole vault. And we've got other champions from the world's outdoors in Tokyo. Anna Hall of the United States won the heptathlon. She will be competing in the pentathlon. It's 5 events for women indoors. And a little bit like Keely Hodgkinson, she hasn't done the world indoors before. They are ticking these off their bucket list, if you like, some of these outstanding athletes. And yeah, it's going to be an outstanding 3 days of competition with that Commonwealths and that Europeans outdoors to come.
Absolutely. Listen, Great to talk to you, Ed. You'll be bringing us updates, of course, on 5 Live. Paula, thank you so much, as always. Very much part of the TV team over the next 3 days, starting at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. And it's on BBC Two, the iPlayer and the BBC Sport website and app all over the weekend. A quick word about the Rugby Union. England centre Meg Jones has been named Women's Rugby Union captain for 2026, starting with the Six Nations that begins next month. It's after yesterday's announcement that World Cup winning skipper Zoe Stratford is expecting her first child. So let's head back to Villa Park. We're just about 10 minutes away from kick-off between Aston Villa against Lille in the last 16 of the Europa League. Conor McNamara and Dion Dublin are our commentary team, and European football journalist Julien Laurent is with us as well. And Jules, let's concentrate on Lille for a couple of minutes. We've talked a little bit about the fact that Olivier Giroud is still going strong at the age of 39, but they're going pretty well in Ligue 1, aren't they? They're 3 points behind Lyon in fourth and Lille in fifth place.
Yes, you're right. Although the last few results have been a bit disappointing, a bit difficult as well. Bruno Genesio struggling to find the solutions to a few issues that he had within his squad, with injuries, game that the opposition has been given against them too, and that's why tonight is big, because obviously if you can knock out Aston Villa and continue in this competition, but it also looked like for Lille to go and win this was going to be very difficult. Lyon were probably the better team, although they were knocked out by Celta Vigo in the earlier kickoff, so that's a big disappointment. But I'm not sure if Lille can go all the way. However, for them to try to get that fourth place in the league, to go back to the point that we had earlier, for Villa, do you prioritize the Europa League or the top 5 finish, etc., etc. It's a bit the same for Lille, but they're obviously not as good as Villa, and Ligue 1 is not as good as the Premier League, so it should be easier for them if they get knocked out tonight.
And they're on a bit of a run of form, aren't they? I mean, we've talked about Villa's poor form and had some disappointing results recently, and they've only lost one in the last 6 in all competitions.
Yeah, it's a little bit better. It's not great football, and I don't expect to see a wonderful masterclass of attacking football tonight from them, especially with the players that the coach has chosen for tonight. But it's a bit better. At least they're a bit more solid. I think the return of Bouhaddi in midfield is a game changer. He's 18. He's a wonder kid. He's going to be a superstar of world football very, very soon, because he's that talented and that good. And he'd been missing. He had a knock on his knee. He could not really start even in the first leg last week. But to have him in the team makes a massive difference to them. So it's good for them that he's back. It's a big task tonight at Villa Park, no doubt. But at least if they can get something positive from tonight, whether they qualify or not, whether they win or not, it would be very good for the game at the weekend.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him. I don't know about you, Dion. I don't know what you would... I mean, you know, at 18, he could represent France, he could represent Morocco. He's in the same side as 39-year-old Olivier Giroud. Are you looking forward to seeing him?
Yeah, you know what? I think he's incredibly lucky. He's incredibly lucky to be in the position he is. I'm pretty sure he's enjoying it as well. At 18, I was happy to be playing for Cambridge United, let me tell you. There's a bit of a contrast, but listen, when you're that talented, you've got to really take the advice of those seniors around you, like Olivier Giroud, who's done everything, won most things as well, and I'm pretty sure as a senior, he's doing exactly that.
A quick update from the Palace game in the Conference League. And John Akers, what's happening?
Biggest goal of the season so far for Crystal Palace, and the 15th of the season for Ismail Assar in stoppage time, 99th minute, from a corner, well-worked set piece, and Sarr was there again to finish from close range. We're in extra time, and Palace lead Larnaca by 1-0.
Going back to Lille, Jules, and Olivier Giroud, we're in an era, aren't we, where it's not about partnerships up front. It's about, you know, you're the sole man up front. At the age of 39, how is he still doing it?
It's quite incredible, isn't it? I'm amazed by what he's doing. I think he deserves so much credit. He went to MLS, to AILFC, where things didn't work out for him at all. They were playing a style of football that was not suited to him and his quality. To go back to your point, on counter-attacking and quick transitions forward, that was not him, because he's never been a runner like that, really. It worked for him at Arsenal, and before that even at Montpellier in France, and then Chelsea, AC Milan, because you play on his strength. He's so good in the box. He's got that excellent efficiency in his game. That is great. If you start to ask him running in behind and things like that, that's not for him. I looked it up before we started the show. The last season where he didn't have double digit in goals scored in all competitions was 08-09 when he was playing for Tours in the French lower league. Since then, Dion, can you imagine almost 20 years of consistency at the best of at least 10 goals in all comps for every team. Even when he moved in 17-18, remember he started the first half of the season with Arsenal and then he moved in January to Chelsea. If you add up the goals for Arsenal and then the ones for Chelsea, so the whole season, he's on 15 or 16, I think. Incredible. I tell him all the time, I don't know how he does it. Really, that still now at 39 and a half, he's still on 9 now, so he will get to 10. He will have another year with at least double digit in goals scored. It's a wonderful, I think, lesson for the younger players, especially of longevity, of work rate, professionalism. That's all him, really.
Yeah, and he loves scoring against Villa, as we were hearing, and Jules sounds like the Villa Parker getting into good voice already. So they need the crowd to get behind them. They have been boosted, haven't they, by the return of their captain, John McGinn.
Me, Ellie?
Yes, Dion, sorry.
Sorry, you know what?
I think the music's loud.
I was watching the flamethrowers because they were keeping me warm. I'm getting the heat off the flames. I think John McGinn is the player that can take them forward on his own in regards his leadership and how he keeps all his teammates on their toes. I mean, this is Villa Park under the lights tonight. It really is starting to fill up. I actually thought, is it going to be full tonight? But I can't see an empty claret or blue seat at all. The whole tent is absolutely jam-packed. It really is. John McGinn will love it, and he'll make sure his players love it as well. And the only way you can really love it is to get a good, convincing performance tonight.
Absolutely. And the fact that they've been decimated in midfield, haven't they, Jules? They lost McGinn, they lost Yuri Tielemans and Boubacar Kamara as well, all within the space of 2 weeks. So actually, this is a good time for him to be back, the captain.
Yeah, perfect. You would want him back right now in the crunch time of the season, because we've said there's so much to play for Villa now between Europe and the league. You need him, not just the leadership qualities, obviously, but also everything he brings onto the pitch to help that midfield, to be creative. He can play everywhere, really, in all those positions. It's perfect to have him there. And also, for the World Cup coming up for him in Scotland, this is good for him to come back at this time, because he's going to get a really good run of games and then be super fit for the World Cup.
Teams will be out shortly at Villa Park. Before we head there for commentary, let's update Nottingham Forest in the Europa League. Charlie Slater.
Couple of minutes remaining of the first half of extra time. The game's settled down a little bit now. Some tired bodies out there as we're well over the 100-minute mark. As it stands, we're heading for penalties. It's 2-1 to Nottingham Forest at Midtjylland on the night, but 2-2 on aggregate.
And Larnaca Palace in the Conference League. John Akers.
Palace lead by 2-1, 2-1 on aggregate, and Larnaca down to 10 men. So we're in the 104th minute, and Ismail Assar's double has them a slender lead. They're the ones pushing against some tired-looking legs in Cyprus. It's Larnaca 1, Crystal Palace 2.
Thank you very much indeed, John. It's so close, isn't it? Just that slender advantage for Villa, but they're at home. The whole tent is in good voice. The fireworks have gone off. The teams are coming out, Dion. Can they do it, the boys in claret and blue?
Yes, they can do it. I'm pretty sure they can do it. They have to come out flying. Lille have got to come out and do something tonight. Jules said that he thought they'd come out at home and be a little bit more energetic. They weren't. They were a little bit lethargic. They have to do something tonight, Lille. Villa have got to be careful not to get caught on the chin with a sucker blow early on by conceding a goal. If Villa are at it, they should win the game.
Dion, we'll chat more at half-time. Julien, always lovely to talk. Thank you so much for being with us for the last hour. Let's head then live to the West Midlands. Villa Park is a sea of claret and blue at the moment, and Conor McNamara could be a big night in the West Midlands.
It is certainly a big European night atmosphere here. This club with such a proud European history. European winners of the old European Cup back in 1982 under Tony Barton. And even in recent times, Aston Villa over and over again have shown that they are very hard to beat here at their home stadium. Aston Villa have only lost one of their last 17 European home games. And tonight is a big one, leading by a 0-0 from the first leg in France last week. Can Aston Villa get the job done here? And can they pave the path through to the quarter-finals of this competition, where they will play either Bologna or Roma? It's the second time in 2 years that these teams have met in Europe. Back in 2024, Villa beat Lille over 2 legs in what was the Europa Conference League quarter-final. That was a tie that went all the way to penalties. Tonight they face each other again, and this time with a place in a quarter-final at stake. Unai Emery's team holding that 1-goal advantage from the first leg in France. In the last round, Lille also lost the first leg at home against Red Star. They went away from home for the second leg, as they do tonight, and Lille came back to turn that all around after extra time and to earn their trip here to Birmingham today. Let's give you a full rundown of the teams as we prepare for kick-off here. Aston Villa going to wear their traditional claret and blue. Lille are going to wear a change kit of navy with a yellow trim. Emi Martinez in goal for Aston Villa. It's a back four of Lamar Bogard. Matty Cash is back on the bench but doesn't start. Victor Lindelof, Pau Torres and Ian Maatsen complete the back four. In midfield, Jadon Sancho and John McGinn will be wide, with Amadou Onana and Douglas Luiz in the centre. Tammy Abraham makes his 50th appearance for Villa over both spells, and he is partnered in attack by Morgan Rogers. For Lille, Turkish international goalkeeper Berger Ozer plays behind a back four of Nathan Ngoy, Alessandro, the Brazilian international, Chancel Mbemba, once of Newcastle, and Romain Perrault, once of Southampton. The three in midfield, the 18-year-old Ayoub Bouyadi, Nabil Bentaleb, who's 31 now, former Spurs and Newcastle midfielder, Nagael Mukau, the Congolese international, completes the midfield, with Thomas Meunier, the experienced Belgian wide right, Felix Carrera, the Portuguese winger, on the left, and 39-year-old Olivier Giroud leads the attack, having scored more goals against Aston Villa in his career than any other opponent. Giroud has found the net on each of the last 3 occasions that he's played here at Villa Park. We're looking down. He still has those chiseled good looks, doesn't he? He hasn't got a peck of weight on him, Olivier Giroud. He looks like he could still be 29, not 39.
Absolutely, and he's still got good hair as well, by the way.
Very jealous of that.
I'm very jealous of that. No, he looks in great nick, doesn't he? He really does. And he'll be the one doing the talking in that huddle right now that Lille are having in the centre of their half. So yeah, Villa have got to be careful. The two centre-halves have got to be careful of Giroud. He does like to score from across left or right side. He'll be there.
Right, we're about to get started. They've reached half-time in extra time at Michelin against Nottingham Forest. Charlie Slater.
And Michelin had a really good chance at the end of that first half of extra time. Well saved by Ortega. Cho with the volley. Still 2-2 on aggregate.
Thanks very much. And what about Crystal Palace and Larnaca? John Akers.
Larnaca 1, Crystal Palace 2. Sarr with both. Half-time in extra time. Sarr's hit the crossbar with a curler, and Strand Larsen has hit the post. This should be out of sight. Larnaca 1, Palace 2.
Thanks very much. We are underway. Aston Villa playing from right to left as we look down. Jadon Sancho setting off on the first attacking sprint down the right wing, and he's challenged out there by Romain Perrault. Last touch comes off Sancho, and that is going to be a throw-in to Lille. Plenty smoke and sulphur in the air. Whole succession of fireworks and pyrotechnics that were released ahead of kick-off. Some of them by the Aston Villa stadium staff, some of them by the travelling Lille supporters who are making a lot of noise. They are massively outnumbered, but French fans on the road will always shout as McGinn takes the first shot of the game, but he's absolutely miles out in it, careers across the goal and well wide of the target. But that's the sort of intent that Villa will want to see from John McGinn. First time he gets a touch in an attacking position, and he's already having a crack at goal. Villa 0-0, Dion.
Yeah, and it's nice. I mean, a few seconds, and Tammy Abraham is just popping into that 10 position just to try and steal the ball off that sort of sitting midfield player, just to help his team get hold of the ball and start attacks.
Lille, who have never won on 9 previous visits to England in European competition. They've lost their last 7 in a row, but they'll see this tonight as an opportunity to put that straight, as Ian Maatsen has possession left back for Aston Villa. rolls it into the centre to Pau Torres along the edge of the penalty area to Victor Lindelof. Lindelof, who's got a protective face mask covering his eyes and the top of his nose, and he rolls it back again to Pau Torres, who'll send it left-footed over the halfway line, looking for the sprinting Tammy Abraham, who keeps the ball in play, but his pass in field will relinquish position to Bouyadi. Lille then in a battle to hold on to it under pressure from Amadou Onana. Douglas Luiz comes into, and Villa do well to regain possession inside their own half.
Yeah, did well there, really did. Luiz in the middle of the park, and McGinn just showing quick feet because they were being closed down by those midfield players there. Olivier Giroud coming back as well to help out, but kept hold of the ball.
Yeah, it's worth just stressing how strong Villa have been in Europe in recent seasons, and yes, they haven't got on to actually lift trophies, but whether they've been in Europa League, Champions League, Europa Conference League, they've always got through to the knockout stages. If you look back over the last 3 seasons in Europe, we'll come back to it in just a moment. It's a chance to come forward here for Rodgers, and there's a hesitation, and Sancho's into the penalty area on the right-hand side. Pulls it back to the edge. Douglas Luiz hits it low. Double ricochet over the top and out for a goal kick. Well, that is the first proper chance of the game. Sancho's acceleration caused all sorts of trouble, and Douglas Luiz just had too many bodies in the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lovely run from Sancho down the right-hand side. The ball gets played in front of him so he can let his pace take charge. Gets past his fullback, and he does really well. He chops back because there's no option from his first look. Chops back on his left and just rolls it into Luiz's path. It's a bit of a ricochet, nothing on that occasion, but really sharp play.
Villa give the ball away in the midfield. Nabil Bentaleb is then fouled, and a free kick to Lille midway inside Aston Villa territory. The visitors from France playing from left to right as we looked at. Aston Villa 0-0. This is the second leg of this last 16 tie in the Europa League. Bentaleb tries to clip one in towards Olivier Giroud, takes it down on his chest, back to goal inside the penalty area, but as the pass was played, Olivier Giroud was offside, and that is a free kick to Villa. They look to take it quickly and release Sancho once again, but too quickly for the referees liking David Massa, experienced UEFA elite referee in charge tonight at Villa Park.
Yeah, I think what they'll have tonight, Lindelof and Torres, is somebody to mark. Olivier Giroud will not move from in between them, so that means they're going to be taken up, marking Olivier Giroud. It'll leave a little space down the right hand and left hand side. Fullbacks of Villa have got to make sure the gaps aren't too far away, or they're not too far away from their centre half partners as well.
He's had a magnificent career. Olivier Giroud won the Champions League and the Europa League during his time at Chelsea. Here comes Morgan Rodgers on the attack for Villa. A rather careless pass in field, though, is straight to Chancel Mbemba. And then the young 18-year-old Bouyadi shows how composed he is as he just veers away from a couple of opponents and finds a safe pass to Alexandro, Brazilian international who's had a lot of injury problems this season. Last summer he played 3 internationals in a row for the senior Brazil national team, and then he was missing out injured for the October-November game, so he's a player very much looking to impress ahead of the World Cup squad announcement. Alessandro, he's in possession at the moment, gives a short pass to the halfway line again to Bouyadi, and Villa very much dropping off here. There's no high press from Unai Emery's team as Lille try to come down the left-hand side. Poor pass, though, intercepted by Jadon Sancho, and Aston Villa have it back. Bogard to the edge of the penalty area to Lindelof, and ultimately all the way back to Emi Martinez, who's wearing a bright red. Away to our right-hand side, Pau Torres on the edge of his own penalty area, tries to loft it up towards Tammy Abraham. Header of interception won by Mbemba, but it's not an accurate header. Can't pick out a teammate, and Villa will come again. John McGinn on the halfway line, captain's armband, bright lime green. Gives it back to Douglas Luiz, who rejoined Villa in the January transfer window. Matson has come forward on the left-hand side. He's been closely matched by Thomas Meunier. They've got Ngoy and Meunier sort of doubling up on that side to Lille, and it's going to be difficult for Villa to attack down that left-hand side as Pau Torres just releases himself back into his own penalty area. A little retreat here to hold on to safe possession for Aston Villa. Still 0-0 on the night, and still Aston Villa leading by 1-0 on aggregate.
Yeah, Unai Emery there in his technical area. I mean, I think he's done more running already than Martin, by the way. He's done about 10 laps in that technical area, Unai Emery.
Unai Emery, who the mosaic and all the different banners held up by the crowd ahead of kickoff was in honour of him. The away leg last week when Villa won in France, that was his 100th victory as Aston Villa manager, only the 4th manager in the history of the whole club to get 100 competitive victories, and that was very much paid tribute to by Aston Villa fans ahead of kick-off here. 0-0 on 5 Live. Lindelof in possession in the centre circle, gives it to Pau Torres. Left-footed ball over the halfway line to Maatsen, who's cleverly cut back to receive it ahead of Mounier. Now Maatsen, again, we mentioned this, doubled up upon by Ngoy and Mounier. The ball goes out for a Villa throw.
It's incredible. I'm watching Unai Emery again, and the ball goes back to Pau Torres and Lindelof, and he's saying to Maatsen, stay forward, get him behind the fullback. He's pointing his finger to the left, get in that space. So he obviously wants to leave Villa 2 against 1 with Giroud and let the other players go and attack.
Aston Villa 0-0 on the night here, but leading on aggregate. Elsewhere in the Europa League, Forest are 2-up in extra time away at Midtjylland. It's 2-2 on aggregate there. In the Conference League, Palace leading 2-1 on aggregate in extra time away at Larnaca. 2 goals from Ismail Assar this evening. This is 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Europa League football, the last 16. Pau Torres again tries to release Tammy Abraham, again well intercepted by Mounier. And Bouyadi, full of industry and hard running in the midfield, gets it down on the deck, and Lille have safe possession inside their own half. Bouyadi, who's got a heavy strapping on his right knee area. Over to the left-hand side they go, where Romain Perraud come over the halfway line but doesn't fancy creeping any further. This is Nabil Bentaleb. Short pass back to Ngoy, back to Bentaleb, uncertain touch, and Abraham was very nearly into make an interception there, and Lille have got to be careful. The pace that Villa have got in attack with Abraham and Rodgers, any little dilly-dallying and Villa in the blink of an eye could be from halfway line into the opposition penalty area. Possession back with Chancel Mbemba, who spent 3 years in the northeast with Newcastle. Alessandro will come over the halfway line. Short pass back in field, and I think Lille will be pleased with this little spell of play here. They're calming down the exuberance of the Villa crowd. They are behind an aggregate, Lille, but they're showing some comfortable possession until Ngoy's pass goes too far in front of Mounier, and that's possession back to Aston Villa. Left full-back position still 0-0.
Yeah, it's nice to see that Villa are aware of Bouyadi in the middle of the park and Bentaleb. They are actually dropping nice and deep to get the ball to try and start those moves off, and the Villa are just tucking their wing backs in to make sure there's no space for those 2 players to find the runners as well. So Villa have notified that those 2 midfield players are trying to dictate the game.
9 minutes played. Bentaleb to Alessandro for Lille. Lille who've been champions of France 4 times, most recently 5 years ago when they disrupted Paris Saint-Germain's regular stranglehold on the title. Position in the midfield at the moment with Mukau, and then a touch for Bouyadi, and then over to the left-hand side to Romain Perraud, who is midway inside Villa territory, and then Lamar Bogart comes across to close him down. Bogart, who has played the most minutes for Villa in the Europa League this season of all players for Unai Emery. Ball out of play, Lille take the throw in, and it's the French visitors who are hogging possession at the moment. Mbemba back to Ngoy to the near touchline. Thomas Mounier, famously of Dortmund and Paris Saint-Germain in the past. He played under Unai Emery at PSG, Thomas Mounier, so they'll know each other well. They won 5 trophies together in that spell. Still possession with the visitors. Bouyadi back to Alessandro, back into the centre circle again. Chancel Mbemba. Just now, Unai Emery coming right to the edge of his technical area here, and he's pointing at John McGinn. He's saying, right, let's not allow them have as much time in the ball in defence. Let's get up and pressure them a little bit more. And McGinn goes thundering into a challenge. But now it's an opportunity for Lille to try and break through that press, and Mounier will accelerate towards the penalty area down the right-hand side. He's got Felix Carrera with him, tries to cross, well blocked by Pau Torres. Out it goes for the first corner of the evening. Corner to Lille on the right-hand side. 0-0 at Villa Park on 5 Live.
Yeah, that's the danger now for Villa. They've got to make sure that they don't concede this first goal. I mean, if they concede the first goal in this first half or in this first early stages of the game, then you start looking over your shoulder. Villa have really been comfortable, or should I say they were comfortable in that first leg. They've really got to make sure they don't concede it. This could be dangerous because everybody's forward for Lille.
Yeah, remember, Aston Villa's form domestically has not been good since the turn of the year. They have kept up the high standards in Europe. Not guaranteed they'll be able to keep them up throughout this evening. Here comes the corner in. Morgan Rodgers wins it well. Mounier with his less favoured left foot tries to follow up full on the volley, and that cannons way too high up over the crossbar and into the Aston Villa fans at the Holt end.
Yeah, Mounier there. He actually looked like a right-footed player taking a left-footed strike there, way into the top end of that Holt. in that Holt stand, which is absolutely jam-packed. They've not started yet, they've not got involved yet, the Holt end, when it comes to noise, but at some stage they will need to help their team get over the line.
Thomas Meunier, who hasn't scored a goal in Europe for 6 seasons. Last one was against Real Madrid in the Champions League. Emi Martinez takes the goal kick here for Villa, high up over the halfway line. Tammy Abraham is beaten in the air by Chancellor Mbemba. Maatsen picks it up on the deck, and this is Douglas Luiz bang on the halfway line. More live football coming up across the weekend, of course, in 5 Live. We'll bring you Fulham against Burnley in the Premier League. That's the pick of the 3 o'clock games in the Premier League on 5 Live. And then the tea time match is on Merseyside, Everton against Chelsea, 5:30 start. You can listen to that in full here on 5 Live. As Pau Torres gives the ball to John McGinn, trying to shield it, holding it, anchoring himself into the turf, and eventually drawing the foul from Nathan Ngoy. Free kick to Aston Villa for John McGinn.
He's probably one of the best in the league, you know, John McGinn. Allowing, remember Dembele at Spurs?
Yes.
He was
Brilliant.
the same. He didn't mind the contact. He'd wait for people to come. He backed himself. He backed his strength and his skill. John McGinn's exactly the same. What happens is players get really frustrated. They start to double up on him. Leaves one of his teammates free. Then he lets it go. Really clever play from John McGinn.
Yes, he's often one of the most fouled players in the Premier League, John McGinn, for that reason, because he sort of draws, he relishes that contact.
He does.
This is Lindelof, the former Manchester United man in defence for Aston Villa. Pau Torres under pressure from Mukau will turn and roll it back to Emi Martinez. So last time, 2 years ago, when these sides met in the Conference League knockout and went to penalties, Emi Martinez saved 2 spot kicks in the shootout. And that is something that Unai Emery will always have up his sleeve tonight. Prospect of a 1-0 win for Lille, bringing this to extra time and penalties. Emi Martinez really is a specialist when it comes to shootouts. Maatsen tries to get to the byline down the right-hand side and send it across, but Meunier was able to win it off him, but Meunier's not done well. He's lost possession inside his final third, and Villa might have done a little bit better there themselves as the ball is cleared away by Felix Carrera, and Olivier Giroud won't be able to keep it in play. It's a throw-in to Aston Villa down the left-hand side, but that's the first occasion that Maatsen has got to the byline, and Thomas Meunier was there to track him all the way. Right, let's go back to the Midtjylland Forest game. That was an earlier kick-off this evening in the Europa League that has gone to extra time. And Charlie Slater's seen a bit of drama, I believe.
Oh, absolutely. Less than 2 minutes remaining at the end of extra time. Ryan Yates, who's been at Nottingham Forest since an 8-year-old, thought he'd won it with a header into the top corner of the net. He's already scored a screamer earlier on, but it's been ruled out for offside. VAR are checking it, but I think they'll confirm that the on-field decision was correct, and we are heading for penalties with the score still 2 apiece on aggregate.
I remember being at Wrexham earlier on this season when Forest went to penalties in the FA Cup and were beaten by Wrexham. Let's see how Crystal Palace are getting on at Larnaca. Also in extra time, John Akers.
They still lead Palace by 2-1. There's just been a lengthy VAR check for a potential handball against Jean-Philippe Mateta. The Larnaca players and supporters wanted a penalty. They did the check. It's complete. No penalty. But since then, missiles, cups full of liquid thrown onto the pitch by angry fans behind that goal. We've got a minute of the extra time remaining. It's Larnaca 1, Palace 2.
Palace almost there. A team who proved themselves to be a good cup side in the FA Cup, of course, last season. Might they go all the way for Oliver Glasner and pick up trophies 2 campaigns in a row for Crystal Palace? I know they're not delighted with how this season's going, but that would be some achievement. Long way to go, of course. And I believe I just want to confirm exactly what happened, but there's a decision on that Forest goal which was being considered as to whether it would be allowed or not. The goal has been disallowed, so that is, as predicted by Charlie, has not stood for Ryan Yates there. 0-0 here at Villa Park on 5 Live as Maatsen jumps in the air with Meunier. Meunier beats him, heads the ball down from Mukau, tries to attack down the right-hand side, but Douglas Luiz was back covering, slotting in behind Ian Maatsen there, and he's been able to mop it all up from an Aston Villa point of view. Well, now on the edge of his penalty area, he's giving it away. This could be trouble. This is Buani inside the box, can't get the shot away. Douglas Luiz does good, strong work again, as Giroud goes down holding his shin inside the penalty area, and he's clearly trying to indicate that he's been fouled there. The on-field decision is to play on. Video assistant referee, I'm sure, will be looking in the background to see if there's any case for a Lille penalty here, but it's a lot of wriggling and jiggling on the ground from Olivier Giroud here inside the penalty area as the referee goes back to check on it.
Yeah, I think it's Douglas Luiz. I think there's nothing in that whatsoever. Douglas Luiz wins the ball. I think what it is, it's the trailing leg of Olivier Giroud. he sort of runs with pace, and his shin, or the inside of his shin, hits the bottom of Douglas Luiz's boot where his studs catch his shin. I mean, he's pulled his sock down so the referee can see the contact, but nothing in it at all for me. Olivier Giroud is back on his feet. Douglas Luiz has got nothing to worry about.
Yeah, Olivier Giroud is going to be okay to continue. We mentioned he won the Champions League and the Europa League with Chelsea. He is still the French national team leading scorer, took over from Thierry Henry, who had 51 goals, and Giroud retired with 57 international goals from 137 caps. I mean, that's some career for France. You know, this is, it's a team where you've a lot of competition to get in that starting 11.
I mean, that's his country. That's international football. That's prolific, and you know, that's why he's still playing, because it's the way he's looked after himself. I mean, he's just been kicked on the shin. He's back on his feet now. He's 39 years old and he's running about leading the line.
Yeah, a little bit of a limp, little bit of a hobble from Olivier Giroud. We'll keep an eye on that as Villa trying to come forward here. The ball bounces a bit awkwardly for Sancho. It's been picked up by Tammy Abraham, who's run over to the touchline on the right-hand side, tries to play the ball back in field again towards Amadou Onana. Villa hold on to possession. They bring it to the near side here, and Pau Torres. 0-0 on the night. Villa leading by a goal to nil on aggregate. This is the Europa League on 5 Live and BBC Sounds, and Douglas Luiz all neat and tidy inside the centre circle, sends it back to Victor Lindelof. Villa will feel that they're in decent control of events here, but of course it is a slender margin between the teams. That one goal is, and Morgan Rogers plays a really good pass, and this is Sancho into the penalty area trying to pull it back for Onana, and it deflects, and it could have gone goal bound, and it actually goes out for a corner as we go back to Mitchell and Nottingham Forest and Charlie Slater.
120 minutes, not long enough to separate them. We're heading to penalties. Forest winners by 2-1 on the night, but it's 2-2 on aggregate. Here come the shootouts.
Have you drawn your chart, Charlie?
You better believe it, Connor. It's not my first rodeo.
As you can gather, we'll be back to hear Charlie Slater's voice quite regularly now through this penalty shootout. And someone said to me lately, not my first rodeo, but the first without a horse, which I thought was a good line. Corner to Aston Villa, which John McGinn runs over. All sorts of jostling on the edge of the 6-yard box. Played in low by Douglas Luiz. That was some sort of rehearsed move. Doesn't quite work out. Comes back to Douglas Luiz. Now we'll give it to John McGinn. Left-footed. Cross on the edge of the area. Firm header away by Chancel Mbemba. And Villa going to try and keep this attack alive as Ian Maatsen sprints to get the ball. Most of his outfield colleagues are ahead of him. He played it up to Sancho, who doesn't even go to touch it because he knew he was coming back from an offside position. So Lille regained possession. 0-0. Almost 20 minutes played. Dion Dummer.
Yeah, it's I mean, Villa are really doing their best to pick up the pace of this game. They've been playing a little bit slow. Lack of communication between certain players. Tammy Abraham and Sancho at the moment need to talk. One goes short, one go long. Tammy should be the one that's going towards the ball and Sancho in behind. And there's a bit with McGinn and Maatsen as well going towards Torres. One should be going short, one should be going long. I've just got to see a little bit more communication from those Villa players.
Aston Villa fans trying to rouse the volume here a little bit. You would say this opening 20 minutes, Lille will be pleased because they've had a lot of possession. They've not really tested Emi Martinez, but they'll feel that they've put themselves in the sort of position that they'll want to be in to now try and prize open a few opportunities. Mounier has it here on the right-hand side, trying to cut in off the right wing. He's got support with Bouyadi, gives it back out to the right-hand side to Mukau, and Mukau with the red boots is forced to retreat under considerable pressure from John McGinn. So Lille back to the halfway line again, and we've got to check up on Larnaca Crystal Palace with John Akers.
Well, Palace still lead by 2-1, but they've just hit the post. I'm not sure how Sarr hasn't scored a hat-trick. The keeper was up for the corner. The ball was cleared. Sarr's away, rolls it towards the goal, hits the base of the post, and Larnaca are now down to 9 players as they throw everyone forward. But we're over the allotted minutes at the end of this game. There were 4 added. We're playing the 6th minute now, and it's Larnaca 1, Crystal Palace 2 at the end of extra time.
Thanks, John. Huge chance here for Lille. Cross from the left-hand side, and the 18-year-old Bouyadi had made a brilliant run to get into the penalty area. Goal at his mercy, really. Dion puts it over the top.
Yeah, I'm not sure how he's put it over the top, to be honest with you. I think it was harder to put it over the top. He's 8 yards out, centre of the goal. It's on his forehead. It's like he closed his eyes and headed the ball. If he just punches that with his forehead, he should really score. It's harder to put it over.
Well, that's a scare for Aston Villa. That shows how it could happen. Their 1-goal lead from the first leg could be very easily brought back to level terms. all over John in terms of full time. There's just Sancho trying to run through, and out off his goal line came Berke Özür, the Turkish goalkeeper, to get there first. John Akers.
Palace are through to their first European quarter-final. It's all over after extra time. Larnaca 1, Crystal Palace 2, playing against 9 in the end. Sarr with both goals, 15 for the season. He was immense on the night. Palace are through. They're the favourites for the competition. They win 2-1.
Palace into the Conference League quarter-finals. Özür, wearing all orange, clears right-footed for Lille, up over the halfway line, too far ahead of Olivier Giroud. And that will carry all the way through to Emi Martinez, who's playing in the Europa League for the 6th time this season. And no real urgency for the Argentinian World Cup winner, and he's sort of patting both hands downwards to say to his teammates, OK, let's just calm down. Let's take it easy here. Time is on our side. We've still got the lead on aggregate. Almost midway through the first half of this second leg at Villa Park and 5 Live. And Martinez still has possession here. Giroud hasn't gone sprinting in on him. Villa will bring it out through Victor Lindelof, who is one of the Aston Villa players who would miss the quarter-final if they were to pick up a yellow card this evening. I believe the penalty shootout is about to get underway in Michelin. Charlie Slater.
Just started, and Morgan Gibbs-White has slotted his penalty into the bottom corner of the net. The Michelin goalkeeper guessed the right way, nearly got a glove to it. This shootout taking place in front of the Danish ultras, who haven't stopped shouting and bouncing up and down all night. At the moment, it's 1-0 to Forest on the shootout.
Thanks very much, Charlie. Back in a moment. Pau Torres has possession here for Villa at Villa Park against Lille, and there's a player down on the far side. It's Morgan Rogers, and the referee, realising that, is holding up play to come across and check on Aston Villa's number 27. Now, this would not be good news for Unai Emery if Morgan Rogers is a problem here.
Yeah, I think he's holding the small of his back, just above his backside, lower spine. I mean, I've had that many times as a centre forward. You're waiting to receive the ball, and as you receive the ball, somebody comes in behind you, and it's a very painful one.
Right, we're not missing any live action here. Let's go back to the penalty shootout of Michelin. Charlie Slater.
Advantage to Nottingham Forest, because the Michelin striker Gui Sung Cho, who scored the winning goal a week ago at the City Ground, has missed his penalty. He's thudded it off the base of the post, and so after a penalty each, Nottingham Forest still lead by 1-0.
Advantage there. Palace already through this evening. Villa here leading on aggregate in the Europa League. Last 16 stage second leg. Lamar Bogart plays the ball up to Morgan Rogers, who didn't need treatment after the referee went over to have a look at him. And then that looked like a pull in the shirt by Bouyadi, and it is, and eventually the referee blows the whistle. Free kick to Aston Villa inside their own half, and Lamar Bogart comes accelerating over the halfway line down the right hand side, and he's fouled, and that is a yellow card. It's the first booking of the day. Felix Correa, yellow card for him. And the Portuguese player is the first into the referee's notebook tonight.
Yeah, I think the referee was just waiting. There was 2 or 3 niggly fouls there from Lille. He waited. That was the third one. And the referee thought that's enough. Too many petulant fouls on these Villa players. And now Villa have got the ball out wide right, halfway inside Lille's half, about 10 yards from the wing, and they're going to stick this in the box.
Lille defence are holding a line just one step outside the penalty area here. A lot of jostling for position inside the D. Villa playing from right to left as we look down in their claret and blue. Douglas Luiz is going to take the free kick. Here it comes, short run up, plays it in, an attempt to flick it on by Lindelof, but headed away. John McGinn is able to control near the centre circle. Plays it back to Lamar Bogart out to the right wing. That was a clever ball to see Morgan Rogers in just a little smidgen of space, and then he tries to send a crossfield ball, but that's been closed down. Lille should get it back here. Bentaleb in the left back position, confident as he tries to play his way out with the support of Romain Perrault. And then infield to Bouyadi, and this is where it breaks down for Lille. Aston Villa get it back on the edge of their opposition penalty area. John McGinn encourages Maatsen to come forward on the left-hand side. Sancho taking up a position on the left wing at the moment, up against Thomas Meunier. Sancho, all right-footed, tries to pull it back, well intercepted by Ngoy, and the ball goes out of play for a throw into Aston Villa, still 0-0 on the night on 5
Yeah, the ball's got to be a little bit more precious there, Villa, in that final third. They've got to make sure that the pass that they're looking for actually works, make sure the ball gets there, because when it breaks down, the momentum goes again. Villa had the momentum and it just didn't work. Sancho's got to be more attack-minded. Go and take your opposite number on. You are good enough to do it. Show us what you've got.
Onana to Douglas Luiz, left-hand side of the midfield for the Brazilian. And he'll roll it back to Pau Torres once again. 0-0 here. Mitchell and Nottingham Forest. Charlie Slater.
Where Nottingham Forest are on the verge and wasting no time in this shootout. All three of their penalties have been brilliantly converted, the latest by Nico Williams. But Michelin have missed both of theirs, both players hitting the same post. Their next penalty taker, Chalufa, must score.
All right, we'll be straight back for that as Sancho tries to attack down the left-hand side here for Aston Villa, but the ball goes out of play, and that'll be a goal kick to Lille. Remember, Lille must score. If this was to stay as it is at the end of the 90 minutes, 0-0 would see Aston Villa through to the quarter-final. By the way, Crystal Palace will face Fiorentina in the next round of the Conference League, having won in Larnaca this evening. By the way, Wigan Warriors against York Knights underway on Sports Extra if you want to listen to that. Back to the Forest game and penalties, Charlie.
And it's all over in the most embarrassing and, from a Forest perspective, hilarious of fashions. Edward Chalufa's come forward to take his all-important penalty. He must score. He loses his footing and he spoons it over the top of the crossbar. And Nottingham Forest have won the shootout 3-0. They are through to their first European quarter-final for 30 years.
Wow, so Michelin miss all three kicks. Thank you very much, Charlie. Oh,
that's terrible. That's embarrassing. Surely they're going to be in tomorrow for extra training, press-ups and long runs and all that stuff. That's terrible.
I mean, it's the old cliche. It's the cruelest way to lose a game, but that's the worst way to lose a penalty, sure.
It is, yeah. You've got to score at least one. Come on, make the keeper make a save or something.
I remember absolutely years ago, I think it was Germany World Cup 2006, and there was a Ukraine-Switzerland game where nobody scored for ages in the penalty shootout. Here comes Abraham through. Flag is surely going to go up belatedly. He ran through. He takes the shot anyway. As is the routine, the assistant waits to raise the flag, but that was always going to be offside for Tammy Abraham. But yeah, I remember that was back when Shevchenko played for Ukraine, and do the commentaries like missed, and the other got missed, and the next got missed, and eventually they went through. So 0-0 here at Villa Park. Almost half an hour played. What's been a good evening for Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest already. A week in which Premier League sides have faced very stern opposition in the Champions League with Spurs and Chelsea and Manchester City departing Europe. But tonight, so far, looking good for the English clubs in the Europa League and the Conference League, and Villa hoping to continue that trend. They have possession at the moment. Lamar Bogard will roll it back to Victor Lindelof inside the centre circle. He'll give it to Pau Torres. Bang on the halfway line, forward towards John McGinn. And Ngoy keeps trying to get close to John McGinn. He's done well that time, actually, and he wins possession back for Lille. And Bentaleb helps the ball forward. Taken on now by Felix Correa. The space for Romain Perraud down the left-hand side. Into the penalty area he goes. Tries to send in a cross-come shot, which Lamar Bogard gets across to block. And that goes out for a throw into Lille, who did look dangerous there on the counter-attack.
Yeah, I'm looking for Rodgers to start to have a bit more of effect on this game. He's been quite elusive at the moment. Whether that knock in the back has hindered him slightly, but I want Rodgers to start to get on the ball a bit more and start to dictate the way that Villa are playing in the final third, because he's not doing it at the moment. He's quiet at the moment.
Aston Villa, who conceded 4 goals in their last home game. That was the 4-1 Premier League defeat to Chelsea here. First time this season that Unai Emery's team had conceded 4 at home. Tonight, a clean sheet will send Villa through. They take their time over this throw-in on the far side. Lamar Bogard, ball above his head. No urgency to actually take the throw. And then eventually he sends it up towards Sancho, who controls it down the deck into the feet of Douglas Luiz. Towards John McGinn, who again Ngoy gets in ahead of. And I think he's realised, don't let John McGinn get it and hold on to it. The way to stop the Scotland international is try to intercept the pass before it gets to him. But of course that can be dangerous, because McGinn could drop the shoulder and turn him. This is Lindelof on the halfway line, coming over it. Right-hand side as Villa come forward, gives it to Lamar Bogard. Forward to Sancho, good first touch in field, and he's taken down. That's going to be a free kick to Villa again, and Sancho just too hot to handle there.
Yeah, just receiving it and moving it very much like David Ginola used to do. One for the younger listeners there. He stopped it and then he moved it, and the defender really got sucked in there. Great little bit of movement from Sancho. We want to see more of that. I want to see Villa doing it 1 and 2 touch. A little bit slow around the back of the back four. If they can move it quickly, get it into McGinn and Tammy Abraham, and then Rodgers can do his thing.
If you're talking about Olivier Giroud's here, Devi Schindler, that was a main. That's absolutely
proper hair,
that's
yes.
proper hair. These French guys have got it sorted. Forest tonight through. They will play Porto or Stuttgart in the quarterfinals of the Europa League. At the moment, Porto are leading Stuttgart 3-1 on aggregate. Like this game here at Villa Park, that one kicked off at 8 o'clock, so still has quite a way to go, but it'll be one of those two teams that Nottingham Forest will play in the quarterfinals. It's good work by Douglas Luiz to win the ball in the midfield for Aston Villa, but Tammy Abraham is immediately shut down by Alessandro. That was an important tackle that the Brazilian had to make, as there's a heavy collision on the halfway line. Lamar Bogard was jumping in the air with, I think, Felix Carrera. They both end up down on the deck. Yes, it is Felix Carrera, free kick to Lille.
Yeah, that's where I want Tammy Abraham to be a little bit more, I don't know, aggressive, nasty maybe, just to make sure that his opposite number doesn't get anywhere near the ball. Get your elbows out, get your arms up, make sure that the ball is looked after, because your team's worked hard to get it to you. Be secure. It's a very important thing as a centre forward, so that your team can get up the pitch.
0-0 on the night. Aston Villa leading by a goal to nil, thanks to Ollie Watkins' goal in France a week ago. Aston Villa, who are at home again here on Sunday. West Ham will come here in the Premier League. And then after the international break, Villa have got Forest away, followed by the visit of Sunderland. Lille have possession. Chancel Mbemba, who is Congo's record caps holder. He's got 106 caps for the Congolese national team. This is Ngoy on the halfway line, being pursued by John McGinn, and he'll give it back in field towards Chancel Mbemba once again. 5 Live and BBC Sounds at Villa Park this evening, with 33 minutes on the big stadium clock, and Mbemba rolls it back to Burkert Özil once again. The Turkish goalkeeper, who'll be pleased that he hasn't really had a shot to save here in these opening 33 minutes at Villa Park, as Ngoy sends a crossfield ball trying to release Perrault down the left-hand side, intercepted by Lamar Bogard. Villa have it, but again cautious. Back to Lindelof on the edge of the penalty.
Yeah, it's a really important time, this Villa, to, you know, you've got that little goal cushion. You really want to make it a 2-goal cushion. You don't want to wait to see what happens. Yes, you have got the initiative at the moment, but you need that second one, just so you can put your foot down on the accelerator and give yourself a little bit more to work with.
You were hopeful, Dion, ahead of kick-off that Villa would have a really bright start here. Do you think Unai Emery will have wanted more?
Yeah, without a doubt, because they've had enough ball. I mean, Lille have done okay, to be fair, but Villa have got to really take charge of the ball in the final third.
Here's a chance now. Morgan Rogers plays a little 1-2 with Tammy Abraham. Then he gives it to Sancho inside the penalty area. Jadon Sancho's shot is blocked by Alessandro, and the bunker's out for a throw into Villa on the right-hand side. That was dangerous. The way they made their progress from the halfway line into the penalty area was so slick from Aston Villa, but good defending from the impressive Alessandro.
Absolutely, and I think it's down to the Villa players. You see just that little bit of injection of pace there in the final third, and the Villa fans are with them. They need to do more of that to get this Villa Park crowd noisy.
Yeah, you can see why Alessandro, when fit, why he's been a regular in the Brazilian national team. He's huge, he's strong, but he's very agile on the feet as well. And he's probably been the most impressive defender here so far, as Morgan Rogers gets possession again. Out to Jadon Sancho, tied up against the touchline on the right wing for Villa. And they'll work it back in field again through Victor Lindelof. Inside the centre circle, Giroud trying to sprint and pressure him as much as he can. Pau Torres gives it up to Ian Maatsen here. Midway inside the Lille half. John McGinn under pressure from Ngoy, who's sticking like glue to McGinn at the moment. And Villa, in order to hold on to it, have got to retreat back to the halfway line once again. Unai Emery comes out to the edge of the technical area, and he was twirling his hands in the air just a moment ago, trying to get some instruction across. Douglas Luiz plays a short pass to Pau Torres. Now to Maatsen, left wing. With 2 defenders up against him. So Maatsen plays it back to Pau Torres, and Villa back into their own half.
Yeah,
again.
there's not a lot on there for Maatsen down the left-hand side. Pau Torres is his only ball. I mean, Lille are getting really tight and compact, going into like a 5-4-1 when they're out of possession. Really tight, dark blue shirts there, no gaps at all. Go down the outside if you want, but no space in the middle of the park.
Well, the longer this stays 0-0, the more nerves that will creep in from an Aston Villa point of view. I mean, Dale mentioned at the start, it's a packed house here tonight, really good energy inside the stadium, but that will turn to a little bit of anxiety when they realise that 1 goal can get Lille completely back into this. Foul inside the centre circle means a free kick to Aston Villa. Onana was hacked out there. So an opportunity for Villa to come forward. Feels like one of those games where a set piece could prise open the deadlock in the scoreboard for now.
Yeah, there's been a couple of opportunities as well for Villa to put the ball in the box from dead ball. The quality's been poor at at the moment. Douglas Luiz has tried one, Marston's tried one. They've got to make sure the quality's good. If your centre-halves are going up as well, quality's got to be good.
Tammy Abraham, who's got such a good record in European football in his career. He's got 21 goals across the Champions League and the Europa League. He's given the ball away quite cheaply there. Bouyadi gives it out to Romain Perraud on the left-hand side. Good work, though, by Sancho to make sure that there's no progression possible for the French left-back there. And Lille, to hold on to it, have got to retreat back to the two central defenders once again. Chancel Mbemba in possession. 0-0 on the night on 5 Live. Thomas Meunier heads it forward towards Mukau. Douglas Luiz gets it back for Aston Villa. Matson under pressure from Meunier, tries to spin around him, and Meunier uses all his experience there, knew exactly what he was doing, trips Matson once he knew the Dutchman was going to be away, and the Italian referee comes across to Meunier, and I think he's sort of saying, look, I know what you did there, it's not violent, it's not reckless, but if you do it again, you're going to get both.
Yeah, Meunier knew, he thought, oh dear, I've been spun down the line, there's only a yard from Matson and the touch line, about 2 yards to the technical areas, and he left him for dead, but the senior head thought, no, not tonight, young man.
Yeah, here comes Sancho trying to attack down the right-hand side, but Alessandro across again, hasn't fully cleared, still alive for Morgan Rogers, who whips in across to the byline, but too close to the goalkeeper, and Ozil is able to come and grab it between his gloves.
Yeah, those final third passes from Villa, they're just either overhit or a little bit lazy, or they've taken a ricochet. The concentration level in the final third should be higher. You make sure that your pass gets to your teammate, or you take the shot on. End product is everything tonight.
My eyes drawn towards Ollie Watkins, who's down there warming up below us, and there was a Villa fan who was standing up and clearly singing a song or chanting something, and it was very much amusing Ollie Watkins, who kept running by the same fan and smiling at him as Rogers tries to come forward here to Aston Villa, gives it to John McGinn. 2 players around McGinn. McGinn has been so tightly marked tonight, and he's a name that's been mentioned in the build-up to this game, and clearly Lille have done their homework, and they're trying to suffocate him as much as possible. Douglas Luiz has it on the halfway line, over to Bogard, immediately put under pressure by Felix Carrera. It's a good shape to Lille, that they're not allowing space for Villa anywhere.
They're doing really well, Connor, tonight. They look as though they are happy with how things are going so far, and I'm pretty sure
Ngoy wins it off McGinn once again, and this is Mukau trying to attack down the right-hand side, has Meunier in support. Back again to Ngoy once again. Ngoy is getting the better of those one-on-ones with John McGinn at the moment. Here's Alessandro on the halfway line for Lille, wearing their dark navy yellow trim. Plays the ball up to Felix Carrera, back again to the feet of Alessandro. This is only his 10th appearance for Lille across all competitions because of those injury problems. And now Bentaleb in the midfield. Bentaleb coming forward for Lille. 0-0 on the night. Tries to give it out to Perraud on the left wing. Good run into the penalty area. Low ball across the face of goal, and Martinez gets there to save.
Yeah, Martinez needed to be there. I mean, Bentaleb has been pretty quiet. He's actually been playing in like a little 10 role tonight, Bentaleb. Not too far away from Olivier Giroud. Dropped into the sort of 8 role, the 6 role there, and tried to start to make things happen for his team.
Douglas Luiz has given the ball away in the edge of his own penalty area. Meunier here for Lille, running a cross goal from right to left. You can see what he wanted to do, wanted to play it into the path of Romain Perraud, but it was a poor pass, easily intercepted, and now Rogers with pace comes forward, but Abraham jumped too quickly there. Tammy Abraham running and was going to be offside surely, but he didn't touch the ball. The goalkeeper came sliding out and has kicked it out, so Villa will get an attacking throw.
Yeah, the weight of the pass and the timing of the pass wasn't quite there. I think it was Douglas Luiz. He should have just played Tammy in. He would have been offside if he'd have got on the end of it.
Do you know, we've just seen the replay. It was tighter than it appeared at first glance. Anyway, the goalkeeper came out and cleared. Here's Douglas Luiz, 10 yards outside the penalty area. Rolls to the right-hand side to Lamar Bogard. Villa looking to step up a gear here with 5 minutes of normal time to go until the break on 5 Live at Villa Park. Sancho tries to dribble his way into a crowded penalty area. Too many bodies in the way. Giroud with a calming touch. Bouyadi does the same. Romain Perraud in the left-back position gives it to Alessandro under pressure from Tammy Abraham, and Lille really needed to get rid there, and they didn't, and they've unnecessarily given away a corner to Aston Villa on the right-hand side.
Yeah, it just goes to show how deep Lille are getting. They're making sure that there's no gaps whatsoever. Olivier Giroud there, 1 yard from the edge of his 18-yard box, getting the ball clear, trying to start a move to get Lille out of that danger area, but they've given it away. In swinger this time, John McGinn.
Some very tall targets to aim for here. Onana, Tammy Abraham. Tall teammates here for McGinn to try and swing it in towards. It's Onana! It's headed by the keeper, and it's unable ball to follow in by Sancho. Jadon Sancho, who tried to lift his right leg up high as the ball ricocheted towards him, but he couldn't get it in. It's going to be another corner to Villa, this time on the other side. But how close was that from Amadou Onana to doubling Villa's lead on aggregate?
I mean, it's a great clearance as well, because it's a great save, but Sancho's just about to volley that in with the outside of his right boot, and he just gets taken off his toe at the last minute. He's only 3 yards out. It's a definite goal. Really good defending.
That's been the closest Aston Villa have come to a goal in this first half on 5 Live. Europa League last 16. It's the second leg. Villa 1-0 up on aggregate. Douglas Luiz corner, played in too close to the goalkeeper, well held under pressure by Burke Ozer. And he's not interested in any quick distribution. He wants to just calm things down as he holds the ball tight into his chest.
Yeah, he likes the in-swingers. The keeper doesn't like the out-swingers, because that means he has to come off his line if he wants to come and take the pressure off his side. In-swingers are going into him. He looks a lot more comfortable if he's about 2 or 3 yards from his own line. But, yeah, what a chance there for Onana. Really good save. And Sancho must have thought he'd scored.
Yes, absolutely. So, best shoot of opportunity for Aston Villa there, and they'll hope that they're beginning to grow in terms of that attacking intent. Villa, who've won their last 6 games in a row in the Europa League. It's been their longest winning run in major European competition. Lille have given it away again. It's been a bad couple of minutes for Lille. Sancho tries to get to a crossing position down the right-hand side. The impressive Alessandro blocks. Out it goes for a throw into Unai Emery's team.
I mean, Alessandro's done that, I don't know, 3-4 times tonight. He's just been in the right place at the right time. Sancho trying to be positive, but just cannot beat Alessandro with the cross, or with the skill, or with the pullback at the moment.
Bogart, as the ball in his hand, he's back to the Lille fans who are housed in that corner. Right hand side as Aston Villa come forward. 2 minutes to go until the break. Bogart takes the throw into Jadon Sancho. Back to Bogart, into the feet of Morgan Rogers. Onto Onana. This is Douglas Luiz. They're working it slowly from right to left across the field here, Aston Villa, but still well outside the Lille penalty area. John McGinn on the left wing gives it back to Pau Torres. Low ball in towards Morgan Rogers was signposted, and Mbemba was able to jump in ahead and make the interception. And then Ngoy's back pass puts Ozer under a bit of pressure because Tammy Abraham was there, but the goalkeeper doesn't mess around and he's able to get rid of the ball quickly. Battling for the ball near the centre circle is Felix Carrera, but he can't get it under his control, and Aston Villa have got safe possession once again.
Yes, really good play from Onana there. I mean, Carrera's just about to bring that down, but Onana, he runs 40-50 yards to get back into a defensive position, gets his toe there and clears the danger. I just think Onana and Olivier Giroud have just collided. Heels, ankles, they're both rubbing their ankles there. Onana's still down. I think his boots come off.
Yeah, so Onana slow to get back up to his feet, but he is now standing again. If you're just joining our coverage here on 5 Live, Aston Villa 0, Lille 0 on the evening. Villa still 1-0 in front on aggregate. Nottingham Forest, who are through to the next round of the Europa League, having won on penalties in Denmark against Midtjylland. And Crystal Palace are through to the equivalent round of the Europa Conference League, having beaten Larnaca after extra time. They will play Fiorentina in the next round. Fourth official's got the board out ready to tell us what's going to be added on for stoppages at the end of a first half, which has been quite cagey. It hasn't had the fireworks that were promised with the pyrotechnics ahead of kickoff here. It's been played like a game in which both teams realise, any little error, the whole tie could just drift, so no one wants to make that mistake. 1 minute to be added on for stoppages, which is about right because there haven't really been any delays.
No, it's been quite fluent, the game. Ball's been in play quite a lot, so yeah, the 1 minute's just about right. I think Lille will be the happiest, I've got to say, if it gets to half-time 0-0.
Yeah, Villa, who've only had 1 clean sheet in their last 10 home games. So Lille will fancy their chances of scoring tonight. Giroud had come back from an offside position there, so he's pinged. And that is a free kick for offside. Free kick to Villa, 10 yards inside their own half. Douglas Luiz thinks about taking it quickly, and I think Unai Emery wants him to get on with it a bit more. Quite agitated Unai Emery there. Douglas Luiz eventually does play a very good pass towards Maatsen, but Mounier comes across and the ball goes out of play for a throw into Aston Villa. So in this solitary minute being added on for stoppages, half-time whistle almost upon us. Maatsen dancing and absolutely jumping in like a gymnast over the football there, and not touching it at all but dancing around it. Sancho's come over to double up on this near side. He's got Maatsen outside him. Sancho, head up, looking for options here. Pulls it back to Pau Torres. Urged to shoot by the crowd. He was well outside the penalty area. Gives it to Bogarde on the right-hand side. Plays a 1-2 with Morgan Rogers. Villa trying to inject a bit of pace here. Rogers trying to turn the fullback. Swings in a decent enough cross. Mounier under pressure gets his head to it first, and it goes out for a throw into Villa, but there won't be time to take that throw in. So there is the half-time whistle, and Unai Emery's Aston Villa still hold the advantage in this Europa League last 16 tie. But Dion Dublin, there is still much work to do to ensure Villa's passage to the next round.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Villa have got to do more. There's a lot more gears for Villa to go through. As I see all the subs now walking in, Buendia, Bailey, Watkins, are they going to be the ones that take this tie to the next round? We'll have to wait and see, but I believe Villa have got to do more. Lille will be very, very happy with that first half.
It is amazing when the bench is clear and the subs and the backroom staff. There must be over 100 people there, and I'm not exaggerating that, am I, Dion?
They're still going in.
There is 50 members of staff each.
All the players have left the pitch.
Yeah.
They're still going in.
There's this queue of people to leave, but anyway, they've got to get their collective minds together. All those analysts, all those backroom staff, can they find a way to win this game? One goal for Lille to get them back into it and force extra time, or can Villa hold on? For the moment, at the break, Aston Villa 0-0 for now.
Dion, we talked, didn't we, about the atmosphere and about how important the crowd was going to be at Villa Park. It sounds quiet there.
Yeah, it's quiet because they've not really had anything to make noise about. I think it's the players, it's down to the players to bring the fans into the game. I think the fans will start to realise they're going to have to play their part and get the players into the game, because the players in the final third have sort of, I'm going to say, let themselves down because the quality's not been great. I think the game itself's been a little bit too slow. Villa have to take up the gears, go into fourth gear, fifth gear, really make it difficult for Lille. Lille have been very compact, very organised, very aggressive.
Does it feel to you like a game which is going to be, low scoring, decided on a crucial goal? Could we even get... we've had extra time in the two games we've already had this evening. Could we be heading that way again?
I don't think my nerves will take extra time and penalties, thank you very much. I'd like a couple of goals, and I'd like them for Villa, thank you very much.
Who's going to score them, though, Dion?
Well, like I said, I'm just looking at the bench there. Buendia, he's very creative. Bailey can come down the left-hand side or right-hand side. Ollie Watkins is there. Listen, Villa at the moment are going through. They've got the goal they need. But I don't want them just to hold on to it. I want them to make sure of going through. They need to score for me, because Lille will get a goal.
Julien Laurent's been watching as well for us, and he's back with us with his half-time thoughts. Is this a question that Lille they've just done a good job on Villa in this first half?
Yeah, just about, really. I would have loved a little bit more, again, like we said with Dion before the game, a little bit more impetus maybe from this Lille team, because they need a goal, and with only 3 shots in that first half, the goal is not going to get. And I know they had a decent chance, and really Bohadi, who I bigged up before and probably should have done better. Then he also lost a couple of balls around the box or around his own box, which was not great. But still, that second half has to be better. I would want to see Fernandes Pardo coming on, because he's got pace. He will ask, I think, different questions to the centre-backs than Giroud does. Who is Giroud, and who's, exactly what he's going to do is a bit predictable. I think Lille, at some point, maybe on the hour mark, if it's still 0-0, will really have to go for it and make those changes. Haraldsson has to come on too and try something a bit different than what they've showed so far.
Interesting to see Jadon Sancho getting in potential scoring positions. I was reading reports in the papers today saying that he could be on his way back to Dortmund at the end of this season. A man who has just really got lost, just kind of feels like he's disappeared. He was so much, such excitement about him when he first signed for Manchester United, and he's just not settled since then. Jules, do you think, is that what you're hearing?
Sorry, it was for me. Yeah. No, I'm with you completely. I don't think he's done enough at Villa for them to make this move permanent, really. Even if at games he's good, he keeps the ball well, there's a trick or two in him. Yeah, sure, he's a really good dribbler when he wants to be. I just don't think there's been enough consistency, even in his final end product goals, assist, even second assist. I haven't seen enough. But again, it's the reality, Ellie, of what Aston Villa's position is right now, and that's why they need the Champions League. Otherwise, in the summer, if there's no Champions League football and not that money coming in, they will only be able to do loan deals like the Sancho one or the Tammy Abraham, Daniel Malen kind of swap, because they won't have enough money to go and buy a 40 or 50 million pound right winger from somewhere in Europe.
We will talk more to Julien. We'll be back with Dion as well before the start of the second half of that game at Villa Park. 0-0 at half-time. And at half-time, it's Roma 1, Bologna 2. So Bologna currently leading 3-2 on aggregate in that tie. So if Villa do go through, and as it stands, they would go through because they have that 1-0 advantage from the first leg. But Bologna would be Villa's next opponents in the quarterfinals if it stays like that. Lots more to come during half-time on the British sides in the Europa League and the Conference League tonight. But that's after the BBC News with Richard Foster.
The voice of the UK. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thanks, Ellie. Good evening. The Israeli Prime Minister says it's ridiculous to claim his country dragged President Trump into attacking Iran. Benjamin Netanyahu asked reporters to imagine what Tehran would have been able to carry out with nuclear weapons.
Does anyone really think that someone can tell President Trump what to do? Come on. President Trump always makes his decisions on what he thinks is good for America, and may I add, I think what is also good for future generations.
Energy prices have risen sharply after attacks on gas and oil complexes in the Gulf. Israel struck Iran's South Pass gas field yesterday. Iran retaliated by targeting a major gas facility in Qatar, causing extensive damage. The NHS nearly collapsed during COVID, according to the latest report from the inquiry into the pandemic. It says millions of people had non-urgent operations cancelled, meaning more people died from diseases like cancer. Dr. Catherine Henderson is the former president of the Royal College of Emergency Medicine and worked during the pandemic.
I think the key takeaway is that we weren't prepared for a pandemic like this, and my concern is that we haven't made the changes that we needed that would mean that we would manage a pandemic much, much better. Hong Kong after SARS put in an awful lot of resources into their emergency departments. We're back with crowding and corridor care.
A couple have been jailed for 8 years each after leaving their daughter to die at her home in Wrexham. Paramedics found Steffi Davis, who was 32, in an emaciated state in May 2023. Alan and Benita Davis admitted causing or allowing her death. She had anxiety and rarely left the house. At least 1,600 meningitis vaccinations have been administered over the last few days after an outbreak in Kent. 27 cases are being investigated and 2 students have died. And the government's cutting foreign aid and will spend the money on defence instead. Bilateral funding to G20 countries will go, except for Turkey, which has lots of refugees. Much of Africa will also see cuts, but funding for Sudan, Ukraine, Lebanon and the Palestinian territories will be protected.
This Red Nose Day, we're bringing the funny.
To start the show.
The Traitors, the movie, is back.
I do think you're a traitor.
I'm not.
You are.
I'm not a traitor.
You are.
No.
You are.
I am not.
We visit Amanda Land with more than one Amanda.
My content's finally broken through to the mainstream.
Dermot O'Leary and Alison Hammond try new ways of raising money.
Let's all remain calm, people.
We're just here for the money.
The nation's favourite Nan joins us in the studio.
Don't make me laugh!
And much more. Red Nose Day, tomorrow night at 7 on BBC iPlayer.
This is 5 Live Sports with Eleanor Oldroyd. Listen on BBC Sounds.
0-0 at half-time at Villa Park between Aston Villa and Lille in the last 16 of the Europa League. Villa leading on aggregate, though, because of the goal that they scored in France last Thursday. Second half commentary to come here on 5 Live Sport. But as we mentioned, 2 more English sides are already through to the quarterfinals of European competitions today. In the Europa League last 16, Nottingham Forest overturned a 1-0 first leg deficit, winning 2-1 in Denmark at Michelin to make it 2-2 on aggregate. The sides couldn't be separated after extra time, but Forest eventually came through 3-0 on penalties. Charlie Slater.
It will be remembered as a famous night in a season to otherwise forget for Nottingham Forest. Deservedly level on aggregate late in the first half through Nicolas Dominguez, and then in front when club captain Ryan Yates hit a screamer. But the Danish side forced extra time, and though Forest thought they'd won the tie late in extra time, a shootout was needed. They needn't have bothered. Midtjylland missed all 3 of their penalties. Forest converted all of theirs, and they'll play in their first European quarter-final since 1996. But now, all eyes will turn to North London and a huge relegation 6-pointer against Tottenham on Sunday afternoon.
Well, with us now is Luke Chambers, who played more than 200 games for Forest. Luke, first time in the quarter-finals in 30 years. That's quite something.
Absolutely incredible, really, and the way it unfolded against Midtjylland. I was at the first game against them when they got beat heavily 3-1 at home, and all the boos were ringing around the stadium for Ange Postecoglou. But the way they've bounced back tonight after losing that first leg is absolutely remarkable.
And what will they take? I mean, as you say, not just from getting through, but coming from behind.
Oh, it's massive because everything has gone against Forest this season, and they're always looking for probably something to blame in the dressing room or from outside, and the fans. Everything that could have gone wrong this season has gone wrong, and especially after so many positives from last season, them finding themselves back in Europe. But as a group of players, tomorrow, when they go back in for their cool down, the travel home this evening, when they make their way back together, what they've done tonight, and the players that have started the game, whereas usually you've got the likes of Gibbs-White on the bench, Murillo's on the bench, you've got Elliot Anderson on the bench, all of these main starters who've been in the team from every game this season. You've got Ryan Yates, who's come in and made a massive impact as captain, knows what it's all about, and then even James McAtee getting his assist. Just players that probably haven't had the time and opportunities they probably would have liked, but I just think it just sets them up now for what a massive game is ahead at the weekend.
Yeah, Ryan Yates scoring, as you say. He said in his TV interview afterwards, he says, "I'm buzzing, we're through, always nervy, always tough. The lads stepped up, really pleased. From minute one, the fans helped us. That winning feeling is so special. The momentum at this stage is huge. We need to recover well and focus on Spurs on Sunday." I mean, that is an absolutely gigantic game, isn't it, in terms of their league position? But the momentum, surely, and the confidence that they take from this will help.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're talking about a Midtjylland side who finished third in the table going through into the round of 16. So they've only lost once in the competition. So for them to turn it round after, like we said, losing that first leg, it's just got to be a massive boost for every individual player alongside Pereira in charge. And they've not had the bounce after they beat Fenerbahce as they would have liked. But what a massive tie they've got at the weekend, and going through the way they have and holding their nerve from the penalty spots with the takers, and they dispatched it so well. Yes, Midtjylland missed theirs, but the way that the lads kept their nerve throughout, when the pressure is on and everyone's looking for them to fail, they've come through with flying colours. They dominate the game, they deserve to win, and that will stand them in such good stead. And the lads, like I mentioned earlier, that started will certainly be looking at the manager now saying, look, we've produced the goods for you tonight. Can we get another opportunity at the weekend?
Luke, thank you very much indeed. Luke Chambers, who played more than 200 times for Nottingham Forest. Forest will play either Porto or Stuttgart in the last 8. Looks like it's going to be Porto. They lead 1-0 at half-time and 3-1 on aggregate. In the Europa Conference League, Crystal Palace won 2-1 after extra time in Cyprus at AEK Larnaca to progress to the quarter-finals. Watched by John Akers.
Palace's season is still alive. They are favourites to win the Europa Conference League after a 2-1 win over Larnaca after extra time. It should have been far more straightforward for Palace. They took the lead, their first goal in around 200 minutes of football in the first half. Ismail Assar with a really nice finish, rounding the goalkeeper after a ball through from Wharton was deflected into his path. 1-0, they looked good, they had further chances, and then Larnaca hit them from a set piece. Sabarit with a header back across the goalkeeper from a corner. Sabarit was then sent off in the second half. Palace were playing against 10 men for the rest of the match, but they couldn't find a winner in normal time. To extra time, and there was Sarr from a corner, well worked, a right foot finish from the edge of the 6-yard box. They hit the woodwork a couple of times, Strand Larsen and Sarr again. Larnaca went down to 9 men near the end, but Palace are through. They beat Larnaca by 2-1 after extra time.
And Palace will play Fiorentina in the quarterfinals. They will be at home in the first leg on the 8th or the 9th of April. Well, Julien Laurent has been with us throughout this evening on 5 Live Sport. I mean, what do you make of those two results? I mean, it's been so far so good as far as English teams in the Conference League, in the Europa League and the Conference League are concerned. But Palace, should they have made it an easier job of it than they did?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, not so much now, because John is right. They could have scored more goals. They've had, I think, 29 shots. The expected goals is really high, but yet they didn't. And yet they had to go through extra time to beat Larnaca from Cyprus. 120 minutes of football, when I know they don't have to play anything really anymore in the league, because they will finish mid-table at best. But still, this is borderline embarrassing for a team from the Premier League to struggle so much. Okay, you on another day would have won 3-0 and we would have a different conversation, but the first leg was not great either, and that was at Selhurst Park. And I think this is part of the problem, really. English teams, whether they are in the Champions League or in the Conference League or the Europa League, they have those tricky games that somehow they sometimes struggle just to get something out of it, and I find that incredible, because that's not what we've been used to in a way either. A Premier League team should not struggle to beat a team from Cyprus. No offense to the Cyprus League, but it's the gap between the two is crazy.
Yeah, certainly a Cyprus team that were down to 10 men and eventually 9 men at the end of the game. Jules, thank you very much indeed for the moment. Julien Laurent with us this evening on 5 Live Sport. The teams are out for the second half at Villa Park. And Connor, I've just got the sense that this could be a nervy 45 minutes or so.
Yeah,
and you're going to have to somehow calm Dion down.
Well, I think this is it. It's a game in which it's building up towards a crescendo. We haven't had the big fireworks yet. 0-0. Back underway for the second half here. Aston Villa leading by 1-0 on aggregate. But this place is going to just, the temperature will rise. It'll become more and more of a pressure cooker. And then the realisation that any one little error could be so costly. The realisation that, Villa, the closer we get to the end of 90 minutes here, the more likely that a 1-goal lead in the night would certainly be enough to put them through. It all just adds to the atmosphere. So I think although we've not had a thrilling game so far, Dion, this could become still a bit of a thrilling finish.
Yeah, it's going to be nervy, I think, for those Villa fans.
Ball into the penalty area for Lille. Giroud is nearly there, tries to smuggle it beyond Martinez, and it goes out for a corner. And when you've got Olivier Giroud in the team, there's always the chance of goals. That was one of the few times in the game they've just pumped in an early cross from the right-hand side, Lille, and Giroud tried to he got his touch, but good save, Martinez out for the corner.
Yeah, I mean, Olivier Giroud will always do that.
Was it a defender? I think actually just looking at it again, and Lindelof got there in front of Martinez. Sorry, Dion.
No, Olivier Giroud does it all the time. If he knows a cross is coming in, he's going to make a run like a very good centre-forward run like he did then.
Corner to Lille. No changes in personnel over half-time, by the way. There's pushing in the middle before the ball comes in. And the referee comes across. Ngoy had fallen down onto the deck. I think he was jostling for position with John McGinn. The referee says, OK, let you off that one, but don't do it again. And these jostling for space, delays over set pieces become such a real problem in recent times and across the game, across various competitions. But I'm not quite sure what the officials can do about it. Here comes the delivery. High and in swinging, and jumping was Alessandro, who's never scored in Europe, and he can't get that on target. And a sigh of relief for Villa. It is a goal kick for Emi Martinez, and it's still Villa 0-0.
Yeah, it's nervy at the moment. I can feel the tension from the Villa fans. They really want to get that cushion of another goal, but it's edgy, and Lille are the ones that are looking the more likely to score with their energy, especially coming out of the second half now. They've gone for a full court press, so to speak.
Yes, Villa playing with Martinez in goal, back four of Bogart, Lindelof, Pau Torres and Maatsen. In midfield it's Sancho, Onana, Douglas Luiz and McGinn, and up top Abraham and Rogers. The Lille team, Ozil the Turk in goal, back four Ngoy, Alessandro, Mbembo and Perrault. In midfield Bouyadi, Bentaleb and Mukau, and then Mounier on the right hand side getting forward, Carrera on the left, and Olivier Giroud is the centre forward. Perrault has the ball wide in an attacking position on the left hand side, gives it back to Felix Carrera, who picked up a yellow card in the first half. That's been the only booking of the game. Bentaleb, oh what a lovely touch that was from Bouyadi, and then he sends in a dangerous cross from the left hand side, but there's no one on the end of it. This is this 18-year-old we spoke about before the game. Little touches like that. It was clever. Everyone thought he was going to lean to the right hand side. He flicked it to the left instead. Very graceful player to watch.
I've got to say Bouyadi got that absolutely wrong. It looked like he was going to his right. It was a great dummy, but there was a great bit of skill, but he wasn't expecting it himself.
So you think that he's outfoxed himself?
Absolutely.
He fooled me. He fooled me. Bouyadi, I thought that was like one of those Dennis Bergkamp things where you flick it one side and run
Only
around
one
the other.
person can do that Dennis Bergkamp move.
Right, here he comes, Bouillard. He's going to show Dion wrong now. Look at this. He's going to do something brilliant. No, he's not. He passes it to Perrault on the left-hand side. Perrault with the white and red boots. Shuffles it back in field again to Ayoub Bouilladi. His 35th game across all competitions. He's very much trusted by the coach, this 18-year-old. Lille still hogging possession. They've had pretty much all of it since the restart after half-time. Mounier on the right-hand side gives it into Mugao. Mugao, the Congolese international, back to Alessandro, and now to the near touchline, and Romain Perrault again, who had 3 seasons on the south coast with Southampton in the past. Here is Nabil Bentaleb on some Spurs and Newcastle. Plays a forward pass to Felix Correa, who turned well initially, but Douglas Luiz was persistent and was able to win back possession. Then a terrible pass. Pau Torres has given it away. You can hear the groans in the background from Villa fans. Aston Villa should have cleared away there, but they're making life difficult for themselves just at the moment. 1-0 Villa lead on aggregate. 5 Live and BBC Sounds in the Europa League at Villa Park this evening. It's a very still evening. There's no breeze. Perrault into Felix Correa, who's been allowed to turn. He tried to feed it through to Olivier Giroud, and he nearly did, but one of those long, spidery legs of Amadou Onana was able to stretch out and intercept, and Villa regained the ball, but they can't hold on to it as Bentaleb gets it back inside the centre circle, and Unai Emery is literally hopping down there on the edge of the technical area now as he tries to get instructions onto his team. Bentaleb looks to stretch it out to the right-hand side. Thomas Mounier's header is down for Nathan Ngoy. Midway inside Aston Villa territory. Lille playing from right to left. That's a good interception by Douglas Luiz. Now, can Villa spring a counter-attack here? No! Douglas Luiz passes to a ghost. He thought there was a teammate to his left. He's put it straight out of play. Throw into Lille. They take it quickly, and Douglas Luiz crunches in again to win back possession for his team. Well, he's done really good at winning it. He may have given it away in the middle there, but now he wins a free kick for his team. And Douglas Luiz just got to be careful with his reaction there. He raised his hands. Yes, he'd been fouled, but he sort of pushed high up in the high chest area of his opponent. Any little slip there, that becomes a push in the face. He could be in big trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's got to leave the referee to do his job there. The referee gave the free kick and he just decided to have a little bit of a throw of his hand into the chest. Don't need to get a yellow card unnecessarily at all. I'll tell you what I have seen as well. Bentaleb's just dropped a little bit deeper. Bentaleb, he's just dropped in front of his centre halves. He's now become the quarterback. He's taking charge of this game. He's pinging it left, he's pinging it right, and they look quite strong at the moment. Lille more likely to score.
Yeah, they are playing, in defence with 3 central defenders, but Mounier and Perrault, when they push forward, it slots across. It becomes a back 4 in possession with the other defenders staying back. Sanchez going to sprint to try and keep the ball in play here, and that's really good pace to get there ahead of the byline. I thought that was going to go out. Rodgers back to Sancho. Now, can they release themselves here? Oh, Sancho with a dreadful touch. He's getting ready to sprint like Usain Bolt, and his second touch there is all wrong. He kind of caught it mid-stride. And what a disappointment for Villa that goes straight out of play. What should have been a great counter-attacking opportunity.
Yeah, he was ready to go, Sanchez. He was kind of ahead of himself. It's like when somebody has the ball rolled in front of the goal and they think they've scored and they missed a chance. There was a lot of grass in front of him. He was 10 yards inside his own half. Knock it into the space and use your pace. The touch was awful, unfortunately. Yeah,
he was like a snooker player there, thinking 6 moves ahead.
Absolutely.
He was thinking, I'm going to cross it in. Will I go back?
Absolutely.
Well, first of all, you've got to get into the position. And he's messed that one up. But Villa under pressure at the moment. Here comes Boyani again. Foul, free kick, might even be within shooting range. Free kick to Lille. 10, 11 yards outside the penalty area. Left of centre. And Villa at the moment finding themselves very much penned back and very much grateful to have that 1-goal advantage from the first leg. 52 minutes on the clock. Aston Villa 0, Lille 0 on 5 Live.
Yeah, I think they've got to be careful here. Really careful, Villa, because if the quality's good, Lille have sent some players forward. Centre halves are forward. Olivier Giroud's in there as well. Mbemba's in there. Bouillard is on the edge of the box. Mukao's in there as well. So yeah, there's lots of players to hit. Concentration levels are going to be high now.
Aston Villa preparing to make a change. Ollie Watkins is going to be coming on shortly. Not yet though. Felix Correa standing over this free kick. 2-man wall erected. And Bentaleb comes forward, and Bentaleb hits it and tries to catch them out, but Martinez scrambles across and dives. He tried to hit it inside the near post, Bentaleb. Good effort, but Martinez makes the save. Good distribution. Sancho, better first touch this time, into the penalty area, rolls it back for McGinn, who scored for Aston Villa, and that was all started by Emi Martinez, who saved the free kick and played a brilliant distribution on aggregate. That's an enormous goal for John McGinn.
Martinez outstanding, the keeper. He's caught that ball and he's thinking, where can I go? It nearly hit him. You know what? I love the vision. I love the vision of him. Olivier Giroud stands in front of Martinez. He waits, he moves to the right of Olivier Giroud. Sancho's flying down the right wing, leaves the defender for dead, and he has the cool head of, who can I find? I can't finish myself. Who's there? Who's ran 60 yards? Who's ran 70 yards to support him? His captain, John McGinn. What a goal. What a goal.
It is a 6th goal in all competitions this season for John McGinn, who's had injury absentees at various stages of the campaign. Played at Manchester United on Sunday. That was his first Premier League appearance since January. John McGinn is back in the goals, and Aston Villa surely now have 1 foot in the Europa League quarter-finals. Remember, just before that, Unai Emery was ready to make an attacking change, and he's going to do it anyway. He takes off Amadou Onana and he brings on Ollie Watkins, and Villa now are going to try and turn the screw. Now they've got themselves this 2-goal cushion.
Yeah, and I think what he's realised is, Tammy Abraham, he would have had better games, Tammy. He would have wanted to contribute a little bit more. However, different game now for these Lille players. They are 2 goals down and they've got to deal with Ollie Watkins' pace in behind.
Yes, apologies. Yes, Tammy Abraham who went off there for Aston Villa. That's my mistake. So Watkins will partner Morgan Rogers in attack. Aston Villa 1, Lille 0, and this is Maatsen in possession. Comes up towards the halfway line. Mukau was close to him. And with Villa 2-0 up on aggregate at the moment, it would be Bologna in the quarter-final as things stand, because in the all-Italian game in the other last 16 tied, Bologna are currently 3-2 up on aggregate away at Roma. Same as us, that was an 8 o'clock kickoff, so they'll be approaching the hour mark in that game. But Villa-Bologna, get some nice grub there for Villa fans for that away trip.
I wouldn't mind that journey. I'm a bit peckish at the moment, actually, so I'll save myself.
That's a come-and-get-me plea from Dion Dublin for a quarter-final assignment. As here is Mukau for Lille. Lille will be really disappointed with this, because they were on top for a decent spell there, but almost rope-a-dope from Villa. They sat back, they took a few punches, and then bang, they hit on the counter.
Yeah, they did, and they haven't been great, Villa. They've kept the ball quite well. They've had some little passages of play where they've looked dominant, but Lille have looked more organised and looked more likely to score. But Martinez with that vision, the energy of Sancho down the right-hand side, and then the skipper making up all the ground to score a goal.
Yeah, football's so much about big moments and keeping your cool and being incisive at the key instant. And Aston Villa, a succession of players made the right call there. Martinez, the way he set up the wall, the way he made the save, then the quick-thinking distribution. Sancho, the way he was able to lay it off. McGinn, the way he gambled on charging forward too. Here is Ollie Watkins involved for the first time since coming on. Gives it to Morgan Rogers, tries to charge into the penalty area, but too many defenders in the way. Then McGinn crunches into a tackle and wins possession back, and the referee says it's a fair challenge of Felix Correa there. Suddenly Villa on top. Morgan Rogers to the byline down the right-hand side. Tries to take on Alessandro twice. Alessandro's really strong. Holds on to Morgan Rogers, but puts it out for a corner. Corner to Aston Villa, who've got the quarter-final in their sights now.
Yeah, they have. They really have, and they needed that goal as well, just to ease the nerves at Villa Park. The fans have decided to find their voices as well, which is great, and it does help the players. Morgan Rogers is getting on the ball a little bit more now. Tails are up now. Villa, they do believe that they can get more. Will they get more from this in-swinging corner from John McGinn?
It's been a good night for the English club so far. Crystal Palace through in the Conference League. They will play Fiorentina, the quarter-final. Nottingham Forest are through, winning on penalties against Midtjylland. And Aston Villa in front here against Lille. McGinn's corner floated in too close to the goalkeeper, and Berke Ozer holds on to that. Nothing the keeper could have done about the Villa goal. Tucked into the bottom corner accurately by John McGinn. Gave the keeper absolutely no chance. As Mounier comes over the halfway line here. Lille, you feel, have got to gamble now. They need at least 2 goals. And time is beginning to run out. Half an hour plus the stoppages to go. But Villa are in a very comfortable position thanks to that John McGinn goal that has them in front of the night and 2 up on aggregate. Bouyadi onto Perrault, under pressure from Bogard, back to Alessandro. Suddenly possession on its own is nowhere near enough for Lille. They're going to have to get it in around the penalty area that Emi Martinez is defending. Here comes Mounier down the right-hand side, tracked by Maatsen. Ball goes out of play for a throw into Villa.
This is all about the concentration levels for Villa now. John McGinn as the skipper, keeping everybody on their toes. Onana there, and Douglas Luiz in the centre of the pitch, being secure, not giving the ball away. They're in a great position, Villa, right now. This is where they wanted to be at this stage of the game as well.
Aston Villa, who did go 1-0 up in their last home game, that was against Chelsea in the Premier League, and Villa fans will remember they lost that one 4-1, but surely Unai Emery in this competition, his speciality will hang on to this. Perot swings in across to the left-hand side, he put too much on it, does sit up for Ngoy, mind you, tries to break into the penalty area, and Anna was really strong, and now Morgan Rogers is going to try and spring another counter-attack here. He's got Watkins ahead of him. Ollie Watkins could run into the penalty area here. Alessandro's trying to get back. Good work for the Brazilian. Watkins tries to take it around the outside, does brilliantly, then tries to send in the cross, but Mbemba was back to make the cutout. And Villa nearly get their third goal of the tie, and Unai Emery with his hands above his head applauds that. Very good counter-attack, all started by Morgan Rogers. It's such a more exciting game now as Mounier comes over the halfway line for Lille. Aston Villa 1, Lille 0 in this second leg on 5 Live. Mounier, though, unable to get in around the defenders, has to play it across to Romain Perraud on the left-hand side. He'll give it in to Boyadi, who turns 10 yards outside the penalty area, scoops it for Olivier Giroud, who must be offside. Brilliant finish from Giroud. What a shot that was. He finds the back of the net, but of course the flag goes up because he was offside. And that is a disallowed goal for Lille and for Olivier Giroud.
Yeah, I mean, Bouyadi there doing, he's just leaning offside. We've just got a replay here, and it's just his upper body that's leaning forward. Did very well there. Lindelof and Pau Torres, they stood strong. They knew the ball was coming in from Bouyadi. It was a little lift over the top of them, but he knew that he was offside. They knew he was offside. I think it's a very, very good defensive display so far from the two centre-halves.
That's the sort of opportunity Lille were hoping we're going to tilt this in their balance tonight. Get a chance for the big number 9. Let Giroud do his stuff. Love scoring against Villa, of course. Here's Rogers down the other end, but stopped by Bouyadi. And then Douglas Luiz will take it on. Crossfield ball from left to right, headed back out of the penalty area. Felix Carrera's under pressure here, and he loses out. Combination of Nana and Morgan Rogers. Rogers sends a right-footed cross in, looking for Ollie Watkins. Just stopped by the defender in front of him, and under some pressure, and Ngoy is able to hack it away. But Villa look dangerous every time they come forward now. And a change is coming for Lille, and it looks like it's going to be a triple change. And they, as we said, you've got to do it now. You've got to bring on attackers, throw the kitchen sink, because their European campaign is coming to an end here, Lille. They might as well go down slinging punches.
Yeah, absolutely. Get some forward players on, see what you can do, see if you can create any chances.
Villa have possession, 2 up and aggregate tonight. Good night for the English teams in Europe. Palace and Forest already through. Morgan Rogers on the halfway line, skips away from Alessandro. This is Amadou Onana. Giroud trying to sprint after him, but lacking the pace to do that. This is Rogers, lovely touch from McGinn to find him. Now into Ollie Watkins. Villa carving through the Lille defence here. Watkins shoots, and it's a few inches wide. He claims it took a deflection. The officials agree. Corner kick to Aston Villa, who were so close to their third goal of the tie again.
Yeah, it's no surprise that Villa are now, yes, they've got their goal through a very, very good goal. However, Rogers is on the ball. He's creating more. He's got the vision of the great passes. He's executing great passes as well. We know how good Rogers is. We just need him on the ball more. He needs to affect the game more, and he's coming into the game now. Villa on top.
So Lille ready to make their triple change. They would need triple goals if they were to win this tie in 90 minutes now. 2-0 down on aggregate. Corner which Douglas Luiz will take short. Gives it to Sancho, back to John McGinn, back to Douglas Luiz, clips it in towards the goalkeeper. And to the credit to Berker Ozer, he's handled everything that's come in high tonight, very comfortably inside his penalty area. Throws the ball like a throw-in over his head, throws it to the feet of Bouyadi. Lille come up to the halfway line. Villa already back in defensive position. So Hakan Hanelsson is going to come on, who's an Icelandic international. Noah Ejuma, who's a young French player, he's a forward. And the Belgian Matthias Fernandes-Pardo, who's another forward, getting ready to come on. He's got 2 goals in his last 3 games in all competitions. As Bentaleb plays a good ball into the penalty area. Giroud close again, stretching with Lindelof, who just about managed to hold him off. And Martinez was able to gather.
Yeah, I mean, Giroud there, he just punched the ground. He's on his knees, he punched the ground with both fists, as if to say for the referee, I think I've been pulled back there. My shirt's been pulled. He wasn't happy.
Here come Villa again. Sancho into the penalty area. Sight of goal, and it comes back off the post. So close. The goalkeeper didn't flinch. Had that just been 1 inch to the left-hand side, Jadon Sancho would have put this tie to bed. But Villa now are completely taking advantage of a Lille team in disarray. They were set up well, they were attacking, they were creating chances, but now they cannot cope with Villa on the counter.
Yeah, I mean, Sancho hitting the post there, but you only get away with taking that shot on if you score, because Ollie Watkins was in the box again. He was 2 or 3 yards in front of his opposite number, Ollie Watkins. All he had to do is put that ball in front of Ollie, and Ollie would have scored another goal, but Sancho took it on. Sometimes you say unlucky, not this time.
Yeah.
Got to score.
Sancho, who was, we praised him, unselfish in creating the goal for him again, and maybe felt he'd done his charitable work for the night, and he was thinking about number one a little bit more there.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely. But you've got to get the ball over to the guy that's in the better position. Yes. It was Ollie Watkins on that occasion.
Team game. It's not about your own tally of goals, and if Lille get one back here, Jadon Sancho might regret that. Mind you, he was a whisker away, wasn't he? He was so close to scoring himself. Right, here comes the triple change. So Hakan Haraldsson, who has been a regular throughout the season for Lille, is going to come on. Blonde-headed player. He'll take the place of the teenager Ayoub Bouyadi, who did look very impressive tonight for one so young. So Haraldsson into the midfield. Noah Adjuma is going to come on here in place of Mukau, and Matthias Fernandes Pardo is going to come on as well, and he's going to take the place of Felix Carrera, who has been carrying a yellow card. Felix Carrera, who came through the Manchester City Youth Academy as a kid. So Fernando Pardo, who's had the most goal involvements for Lille in the French top flight this season, he's got 5 goals, 4 assists. Can he produce something to create an exciting finish here, or are Aston Villa going to cruise their way into the quarterfinals? A quarter of the match to go in this second leg, and Unai Emery, who just relishes this Europa League competition, he's won it so many times in the past, can he bring Aston Villa a bit closer to perhaps winning it for the English club this season? Mbemba has the ball, gives it over to the right hand side. Ngoy will bring it up to the halfway line. Bentaleb at number 6 on his back, passes along the halfway line to Perrault, and now a first touch since coming on for Fernandes Pardo on the left wing, number 7. Bentaleb tries to flash one cross field there, but it's easily intercepted. Comes straight back to Haraldsson once again, midway inside Aston Villa territory, centre of the field. He drops a shoulder, makes a little burst towards the penalty area, goes down as well looking for a penalty. The referee was close to it and says no. And to be fair, it's the Lille fans rather than the teammates of Haraldsson, or indeed him himself, who are making the loudest appeals there for a penalty kick. I don't think that the Lille players actually thought it was ever going to happen. Mistake at the back by Bogard, but Onana comes across to help, and that goes out for a throw-in, I think. A throw-in down near the corner flag, or is it going to be a corner? A corner. He went down on the corner kick side, so a corner to Lille. Tell you what, I mean, first impressions went up, but Haraldsson looks sharp.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that penalty appeal from Haraldsson as well. Ooh! There's a coming together of ankles. I think it's right on the line of the 18-yard box. I think it was an accidental one, but they're also coming together. I think Villa might have got away with one there. Very, very light shout for a penalty, but there was contact.
Yeah, well, the VAR is happy not to intervene because they're not delaying the restart here, so Villa get away with that one. Haraldsson's going to take the corner kick from the left-hand side, sends it in. Header of the front post by Bogard, header of the back post back in. Tried to find out a teammate from Mbemba, but maybe a chance of a counter-attack for Sancho, who does a little round-the-world drag back to himself. Can't break away, but Villa will get things back under control and place it back to Martinez. But Sancho, you can tell, is enjoying himself now. Aston Villa 1-0 up, 69th minute of the game. Maatsen in possession on the far side. Villa on their way to the quarter-final of the Europa League. Thomas Meunier wins a header, can't keep it in play, puts it out for an Aston Villa throw, and they'll begin to take their time over these restarts now.
Yeah, you can always tell when Jadon Sancho's enjoying his football. All his little tricks are coming off. He looks in good shape at the moment. He's happy to work without the ball. He's happy to work with the ball. He was happy to run 50 yards to get on the end of Martinez's ball into the corner. Set up John McGinn for the goal. So, yeah, when he's on it, he's some player.
Long clearance up towards Ollie Watkins, under pressure from Mbemba. Villa thought Mbemba fouled Watkins there, but the referee said no, play on. Lille get it up to the halfway line. They need a minimum of 2 goals here in the next 20 minutes, or else Aston Villa are going through in regulation time tonight. It could be an exciting end to the season this part of the West Midlands if Villa can continue their pursuit of some European silverware. This is Harrelson inside the centre circle to Fernandes Pardo, 2 of the substitutes combining. But Villa just look very ordered and structured here. There's no gaps for Lille to try and get them. You can absolutely see Lille getting 1 goal, but 2 feels a big order for them now in these 20 minutes that remain. Mounier has possession on the right-hand side. Gives it to Harrelson just outside the penalty area. That's a good ball. Fernandes Pardo tries to pull it back for Giroud, but he was well policed and marshalled, and the ball goes out for a corner kick. Corner to Lille on the right-hand side.
Yeah, it's just good positional play from Villa's defenders. Torres at the near post. Martin as well, making sure if that was a pullback, he's in the way. So yeah, really good positions there, forcing Lille to pick out a very difficult pass. There was no gaps at all within the claret and blue shirts.
Bologna now lead Rome at 3-1 on the night in the second leg in Rome. They are 4-2 up on aggregate. So increasingly it's looking like Aston Villa against Bologna in the quarter-final. Corner comes in, Giroud jumps and heads it down, and I think it came off Douglas Luiz. It goes out for a corner again. Tell you what, Douglas Luiz did well there. That would have been so easy to put into his own net as he ballooned it over the top for a corner.
Yeah, it's a really high corner, but Giroud gets over and up. His defender had no chance. Look at Giroud there, 39, what a spring that is, heading towards goal.
Yeah, Giroud still looks the most dangerous threat for Lille. Villa leading 2-0 on aggregate. Harrelson's corner comes in. Bentaleb tried to flick at the front post, but Lamar Bogarde got there first. And Lille will hold on to possession. And Juma plays it to Perrault, and in turn he's got to go all the way back to the goalkeeper Ozer. And Villa see this opportunity to push up, and they all drift up towards the halfway line. Long ball played forward by the goalkeeper. Pau Torres heads on the edge of the Villa penalty area. Matson with a bit of cleaning up to do, is under pressure here. Always going to lose possession, and Douglas Luiz commits a foul, and that was because of the bad pass from Matson. And it's a foul on Ijuma and a free kick to Lille just outside the penalty area. It's not really a shooting position, but a dangerous crossing location on the right-hand side. Dion Dublin.
Yeah, just over 70 minutes gone now. You really don't want to let Lille back into this game. I did say they'd score tonight. They're getting into good areas to put good ball into the box. They're throwing everybody forward as well, Lille. Really having a go at this. They've got to. This is their last chance. They've really got to make sure that they stay in this competition. They're 2 down. Villa, on the other hand, have got to make sure that they win this game.
The John McGinn goal was scored 9 minutes into the second half. Another change here coming for Lille. They're taking off their best defender, Alessandro. And Aston Villa preparing to make a double change of their own as well. But on in place of Alessandro is Alicia Mandi, who is an experienced Algerian defender, 115 caps for his country. So he brings that experience in to replace Alessandro. That's a right back coming on for a central defender. Harrelson takes the free kick and he rolls it short. Villa trying to hold the defensive line along the edge of the 6-yard box. Perrault jumps for a header on the edge of the penalty area. Can only give it to Rodgers. Now there's a chance for Watkins. Goalkeeper's go way out of his penalty area. Watkins in the sprint, and good work from Ozer to just about get there first and clear the ball out of play. Throw in to Villa on the halfway line. They'll take advantage of this break to make the substitution. So John McGinn's work is done for the night. The skipper will make way, hoping that his goal is going to be enough to send Villa into the quarter-final. Emi Buendia and Matic Cash are the 2 are going to come on. Cash will replace Bogarde at right back, and Buendia into the midfield for John McGinn.
Yeah, I mean, these Villa fans are on their feet for John McGinn especially, who's had a really good night again. He does really affect a game. He changes the feeling of Villa when he's on the pitch as well. Players around him respond to it. Well done, skipper. Good players coming on the pitch as well, I've got to say.
2 years ago, John McGinn scored against Lille in the Europa Conference League quarter-final. And tonight, John McGinn has scored against Lille to perhaps put Villa into a Europa League quarter-final. Buendia is on. He was the player who provided the assist for Watkins' goal in the first leg in France a week ago. So Emi Buendia and Matic Cash both onto the field. And Aston Villa are almost there, just over a quarter of an hour of regulation play, plus a bit of stoppages to go. Lille will keep plugging away, but at the moment it doesn't look like they're going to have enough. Official attendance of 37,500 inside Villa Park this evening. At the moment, the visitors from France are quiet on the far side. Jadon Sancho, who provided the assist for McGinn's goal in this game, gives the ball to Matty Cash, and very calm back to Lindelof on the edge of the penalty area, and in turn back to Emi Martinez in the Aston Villa goal. Villa playing from left to right as we look down. Cleared long by Pau Torres, always got it all the way through to Ollie Watkins, who can't control, and Mbemba is able to cruise across and regain possession for Lille. But they are back midway inside their own half, and the French team need something very special now.
Yeah, they do, they really do, but I think Villa right now seem to be in the mood to get more. Ollie Watkins' movement there was outstanding. Balls forward over the top is what it's all about now.
Now maybe a chance for Ujani here to get into the penalty. He goes down, he wants a penalty. The referee was close to that and says no. It was the substituted Juma. He did well to get inside of Matson, but then he collapsed in a heap inside the penalty area. The referee was maybe 7 yards away, had a very good look at that, said no. VAR, of course, will always look at that kind of incident in the background. Matson here, chest down inside the penalty area, not quite sure he had time to do that. Helped out by Douglas Luiz, they try to clear, but Bentaleb gets control again. Lille have it just outside the penalty area. Can the French side rouse a comeback here? Can they make this more jeopardy-filled in the closing stages? They're fizzing passes around on the edge of the Villa penalty area. But can they produce an opportunity? Here's Mounier to the byline, swings one in, too high for Olivier Giroud. Controlled by Sancho, not a good clearance. Bentaleb gets it on the edge of the penalty area. Villa should have gotten rid of it there. Harrelson, Bentaleb. Oh, it's very tippy-tappy here from Lille on the edge of the penalty area. Someone's going to pull the trigger and have a shot. Maybe an opportunity here. Good shot does come in from Ijuma, but it's saved by Emi Martinez, and Villa breathe again as it's worked up to Ollie Watkins, and he plays in front of Morgan Rogers. And the last defender was able to get there, Mbemba, to put it out for an Aston Villa throw. Villa still 1-0 up on the night.
Oh, that was hectic. That was hectic. I mean, some really good play from Lille, but nobody really wanted to take the shot on. Comfortable save in the end. Martinez shot from 20 yards out on the angle. Never going to trouble a keeper of Martinez's quality, but Villa, you know, shape was good, forcing Lille to take a speculative shot, and that's what Lille want to do. They want to put the pressure on Villa to see what they can get in this last 15 minutes or so.
Noah Ijuma, this 20-year-old, has come on as a sub. He's never scored a senior goal for Lille. He did well in power, he kept it down, but it was straight at the keeper. Here is Watkins attacking for Villa down the left-hand side, tries to pull it back for Sancho, but it fizzes through him. Work to do for Perrault to keep it in play in the left full-back position. He clears early. Lindelof intercepts for Villa. Villa now have it inside the Lille half. Villa 2 up on aggregate on 5 live in the Europa League, heading towards a quarter-final against Bologna. Dion Dublin can taste the tagliatelle already. This is Buendia.
No garlic, please.
Back to Pau Torres. And now Villa just frustrating their opponents, passing it around the halfway line. Eventually Pau Torres will send it all the way back to the goalkeeper, Emi Martinez, and the clock continues to tick on, and Aston Villa are almost there. Lindelof, edge of his own penalty area, clips the ball up towards Ollie Watkins, who's got the captain's armband on since the departure of McGinn. Mbemba is adjudged to a foul. Is he? No, they're going it the other way. It's a free kick to Lille inside the centre circle there. Maybe for a handball from Watkins, I'm not sure.
Yeah, not sure how the referee came up with that one. I mean, Mbemba had his arms all the way around Ollie Watkins, round his tummy, round his chest, all over the place, and Ollie Watkins is trying to hold him off.
Here is Harrelson, who's just injected a bit of fresh thinking into the Lille attack since his introduction. Fernandez Bando on the left-hand side, cruising in off the left wing, clips the ball into the penalty area, but it's all, you know, less haste, more speed at the moment for Lille. They're flustered, they're pushing it, and that one floats over everyone and goes out for a goal kick. And cheekily, a little bit of ball juggling from Emi Martinez, kicking the ball up and down on his boot there, just to portray to the Lille players how relaxed and comfortable Villa are feeling at the moment. 11.5 minutes of normal time to go.
Yeah, just managing now, managing the game. You don't have to force it anymore. You've got that little blanket you wanted, make the pitch big, force Lille to run long distances, and if you get a chance to go over the top and get another chance on goal, do it. But it's all about organisation now.
Mounier under pressure does well to to break his way out of it. Harrelson now still back in his own final third. Lille have to be brave here. They know that in the closing stages. I think they'll look back over the video analysis of this game and know that they had opportunities where they were on top of the match, and just the big moment wouldn't fall, particularly to Olivier Giroud. I remember there was that header in the first half that went over the crossbar. I mean, that goes in. It could have been a very different narrative tonight. But Villa, I think it's fair to say, Dion, have been professional tonight in getting this job almost done.
I would agree with that. It's not been an outstanding performance, but they've done what they needed to do. They've got the goal they wanted as well to give you that bit of a comfort blanket. Lille did really well in the first half, to be honest with you, but Villa, I think, on this performance have just done enough.
It's not been sensational, and plenty of evidence of the problems they've had recently in the Premier League. We've seen tonight the misplaced passes, the little frustrating moments. This is not Villa at full throttle, and yet into the quarter-final where, you know, they could be just 2 ties away from a European final. And I mean, you know as well as anyone, Dion, the excitement that would bring to a club like Aston Villa.
Yeah, and the fans would deserved it as well. I think with Villa as well, I mean, the performance tonight has been very similar to a Premier League performance where Lille have created chances but not put them away. Whereas the standard in the Premier League is so high that if you do create those chances or get those chances created against you, it's normally a goal, or you're a goal down, or you're 2 down. So Villa have just got to tighten up at the back for me.
Right, another change. Let's throw the dice here for the visitors. They're going to bring on Thiago. Who are they going to bring on here? He's going to confirm this in a moment, but Thiago, I think, is coming on, and he's going to take the place of Mounier, the veteran defender. So off goes Mounier. He's tried his best tonight, the experienced former Dortmund and Paris Saint-Germain player, but Lille have struggled to be incisive enough this evening to really make Aston Villa sweat. And the John McGinn goal, added to the Ollie Watkins goal of the first half, is sending Villa through. This is Bentaleb. Oh, that's not a good ball. Giving it away to Watkins, who in turn gives it away to Mbemba. So this is Harrelson to Perrault on the left-hand side, cutting it off the left wing. Bentaleb to Harrelson once again. And there's still plenty of effort here from Lille. They're still plugging away and trying, but very difficult at the moment the way Villa is set up. Buendia and Onana and Douglas Luiz all sitting in front of the defenders. Chance to attack down the right-hand side for Silva, who's just come on, makes a burst to the byline, tries to break into the box. Maatsen leaning into him all the way. They both sort of fell off the field there, but referee happy that there was no foul. But then this time he does blow the whistle because Mbemba's fouled Watkins, and that is a free kick to Villa. And Leon Bailey is about to come on. And Bailey, who was away on loan at Roma in the first half of this season, and Roma tonight are back on level terms. It might be some Roman pizza rather than bolognese that Villa are going to have in the quarter-final.
I'll take that. I like a meaty pizza.
So what is that? 3-3 on the night, 4-4 on aggregate, and that one might go to extra time to decide to see who goes through. Jump at the back to win the ball in the air for Mandy. Goalkeeper Ulzer will clear away, but it's a trip to Italy one way or the other coming up for Aston Villa, assuming that this doesn't go awry in the closing stages here, and Bailey should be a good substitution to bring on at this stage. The fact that he'll be able to use his pace and to try and keep Lille honest to the back and not let them be too brave in coming forward. Harvey Elliott's also going to come on here in what is a double change from Unai Emery. What a strange and difficult season Harvey Elliott's had, but he's going to get a bit of game time here.
Yeah, good footballer Harvey Elliott. He's just found it very frustrating. Players in front of him, injuries, all that kind of stuff. It's been a very stop-start season. He needs games, and the more games he gets, the more fluid he gets as well. Sancho, I think, has had a good game tonight, actually coming off for Bailey. He's done well, got his assist. Bailey will come on like for like, to be fair. And Rodgers as well, coming off for Elliott. Rodgers as well, I thought, could have done more tonight, but when he does get on the ball, he can create a lot. Elliott will just go into that little 10 spot as well in behind Ollie Watkins, so like for like.
So Sancho and Rodgers can be wrapped up in cotton wool ahead of Aston Villa's Premier League game at the weekend when West Ham United come here. And Unai Emery feeling relaxed with this 2-goal advantage in just over 6 minutes of normal time to play. Harvey Elliott Might get his first touch here. Nice little dummy by Watkins to allow the ball run through to the man on loan from Liverpool. Douglas Luiz bang on the halfway line. They just need cool heads now. Just composure for Aston Villa sees them through. Nothing special needed. Just professional and consistency now. Maatsen on the halfway line on the far side. Flicks it on to Buendia. Back out to Douglas Luiz. Lille working really hard to try and win the ball back. Bentaleb slides in. Giroud. He's unlucky there, Giroud. His pass goes behind to Juma, and Villa get it back once again. Harvey Elliott inside the centre circle, number 9 on his back. The last time Harvey Elliott scored a European goal was for Liverpool in the Champions League last season when he got the winner away against Paris Saint-Germain, the first leg of a tie that Arne Slot's team were to lose back in Anfield in the second leg. And he's playing just behind Ollie Watkins at the moment. As the ball is played towards Villa's number 11. Header is won by Mbemba, but it falls to Harvey Elliott, and it's played back to Watkins. What a good pass this is. Ollie Watkins tees it up for Leon Bailey. I think it's his first touch. Leon Bailey scores. Aston Villa make it 2 on the night. It's 3-0 on aggregate. There's no coming back for Lille now. Villa fans around us bid adieu to their French opponents. All over now, 3-0 Villa into the quarter-final.
Yeah, Ollie Watkins, I'm thinking to myself, go and get yourself a goal, Ollie, but his vision's that good. He just sees Bailey, left-hand side of the goal, and he just rolls it in front of Bailey. Bailey's 8 yards out on the angle, he just steers it into the back of the net. Villa, as you said, Connor, very professional, not outstanding, just doing enough to get to the next round. That's what they need, but they will have to up their performances if they want to go to the latter stages in this competition.
It's Leon Bailey's first goal since returning to Aston Villa from his loan spell at Roma. It's a year since he last celebrated one, March 2025. Leon Bailey makes it Aston Villa 2, Lille 0. Both goals similar. I mean, there is a VAR check going on in the background. We haven't restarted. Both goals similar in terms of the unselfish nature of the assist. And there's the cheer in the background that will tell you that the goal is confirmed, and it does stand. Goals from McGinn and from Bailey, both in the second half tonight, have put Villa in the driving seat in this tie like never before.
Yeah, and it's taken some time actually to see a little bit of spark from the Villa players and the sharpness, 1 and 2 touch. That's why they've got themselves into this situation. Comfortable situation for Villa. Ollie Watkins involved yet again, which is good to see. Harvey Elliott started that off as well.
So if Dion, say Villa were to finish 5th and it was good enough for a Champions League place, and let's not get too carried away, let's just say they got to Europa League final, didn't win it, would that be a good season for Unai Emery?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he'll be disappointed with him. He'll be disappointed with himself and his team. However, I think most Villa fans would go, OK, yeah, that's OK.
Step in the right direction.
Absolutely, we'll take that. We've got the good foundations for staying where we are, and then to do more, and then to get in those Champions League places, go to the latter stages of the Cups every season. And I think the fans will be happy with that. I think Villa's in a good place, Connor, I've got to say.
Yes, Unai Emery, a very experienced manager. That big mosaic held up by the Villa fans ahead of the kick-off here tonight. You know, just reminding everyone, 100 wins in the job, which is no mean feat. And he knows his way, particularly around European football, Unai Emery. Could this Europa League bring real joy for Aston Villa this season? And you feel their domestic form really needs a boost. The last 10 games of the Premier League, Spurs, who, as we all know, have been a bit of a disaster at times, and Burnley, the only 2 teams that have earned fewer Premier League points than Villa over the last 10 games. So clearly improvement needed there. Maybe this feel-good factor from the Europa League can help them now in their domestic performances too. Perrault's battling on here for Lille, but surely their race is run. Plays it into the penalty area, looking for Fernandes Pardo, who did well to get around the back of Lindelof. And then Giroud jumps and he puts it into the net for the second time tonight. But for the second time tonight, it's disallowed for Olivier Giroud. Still plugging away in the 89th minute, but the flag was raised on the far side, no goal.
Yeah, simple clearance there for Lindelof with his mask on. He just got eased out of it. Oh, the ball's 2 or 3 yards out anyway, so...
Ball went down a play before coming back in again for Giroud to
absolutely, but Olivier Giroud didn't really care. He wants to put the ball in the back of the net, whether it's gone out or not. That's the kind of mindset he has.
Lille's joint top scorer this season, alongside with Hamza Igamane, who's suffered an ACL and won't play again until next season. So every chance that Olivier Giroud will finish at 39 years of age and top goal scorer for Lille this campaign, as Harrelson loses it in the midfield. Could Villa really turn the screw now? Can they put a cherry on top? Buendia plays the ball forward. Watkins wanted to lay it off to Bailey, who I thought had been fouled just before that, but the referee says play on. Ball goes out of play for a throw into Aston Villa down the right hand side, and we've got 40 seconds remaining of the 90 minutes tonight. Villa, who were 1-0 ahead for the first leg, leading 2-0 in this second leg, a 3-0 aggregate advantage that has just rubber-stamped their superiority over Lille in this last 16 tie. And we will wait to see if it's Bologna or Roma for Villa to go and play, as they very much enter the business end of the competition now, into the quarter-final stage. Pau Torres has possession for Villa here. Well, it's beginning to be an emptying Villa Park on a school night. Many have decided to make their way towards the exits. They've seen enough. Here comes Harvey Elliott. Personally, he'd love to make an impact late on. Maybe an opportunity for Leon Bailey to get a second for him tonight. Tries to cut one back, and the cross is cut out, and that is going to be ball still in play for Bailey down the left-hand side, as the fourth official races up the board to tell us there will be 3 minutes added on for stoppages. And Lille have got themselves a goal kick here, but they have very little else to show for their evening.
Yeah, I think Unai Emery will be thinking to himself, well, first half was satisfactory, but the second half's much better, more energy as well. I do believe they've been in better shape. Onana's done really well breaking stuff up.
And they made a mess of clearing it away here, Lille, and Ozer is fortunate it came back to him the second time. Watkins, who'd love a goal tonight, wasn't able to score. But Lille, who just look a bit ragtag now, flag goes up on the far side, ball had gone out of play before it was brought back in again by Thiago Santos.
Yeah, Martin down the left-hand side for Villa has been really good, really consistent tonight. We know how quick he is. End product's good as well. Nothing's come down that right-hand side for Lille at all. Martin been very, very secure, which has been good. Two centre-halves have been very, very good as well tonight for Villa. Sturdy defensive performance.
I've just seen a replay of that mess up by the goalkeeper there. Ozer, who gave the ball to Watkins, who, again, story of the night, narrative of the evening for Villa, was unselfish. He tried to tee up Douglas Luiz, and Ozer was able to remedy his mistake by cutting out that attempted cross.
When did passing as a number 9 come into play? I've never used that one, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Passing up chances to score goals.
Once you could see the white of the eyes of the goalkeeper, you only had eyes for goals.
Must be a new thing, that one. Must be a new thing.
Here's Harrelson for Lille. Villa fans filling the night air with noise and with song under the bright illuminated floodlights at Villa Park. This has been a game which they have been steady, not spectacular, but firmly getting the job done. 2-0 against a Lille team who haven't been able to offer enough. Elliott tries to release Watkins once again. Loose ball has fallen to Leon Bailey, and his first touch was brilliant to control it. And Perrault's going to try and get back here. Bailey comes in field, gives it to Elliott, around the goalkeeper, and down he goes. Good save from Ozer. He got man and ball collectively there. Strong hand from the goalkeeper. Elliott went down. It wasn't a dive, but it's not a penalty either.
No, it's not. I mean, Bailey done great there. He took the ball out of the sky with a lovely little flick with his left foot. And then he drops his shoulder, he gets closer to the box, drops his shoulder. Could have took the shot on, unselfishly put Harvey Elliott in, but couldn't sort his feet out.
Fernandes Parra down the left for Lille, tries to clip in a cross. It's going to fall to Bentaleb here on the edge of the penalty area. Villa would love the clean sheet from now. Swiveling shot from Bentaleb, but it bounces softly and gently into the gloves of Martinez, and that is no pressure for Aston Villa, who are almost there. The 3 minutes of stoppages almost up. On Saturday, Women's Super League, Manchester City against Spurs from 12 noon. You can listen to Fulham against Burnley in the Premier League at 3. Everton Chelsea at 5:30. That's the next live football coming up on 5 Live as the final whistle blows here at Villa Park, and it is very much job done for Europa League specialist Unai Emery, who with a very determined stride is making his way down to the tunnel by the corner flag here at Villa Park, and he knows that once you get to the quarter-final in this competition, anything is possible. Villa are now staring towards silverware in the Europa League. They have done the job comfortably against Lille tonight.
Yeah, striding down there towards the tunnel, Unai Emery smiles on his face, clapping the fans that are clapping him. Satisfactory tonight. He'll want more from his team if they really do get far in this competition. The players on the pitch have done a professional job, as Connor mentioned earlier. But again, they'll want more from each other, and I think there's more to come from them.
Both goals tonight in the second half. John McGinn setting Villa on their way. Leon Bailey will be pleased to score his first goal since returning from his loan spell as Unai Emery works his magic on this competition again. A night when Lille had 2 disallowed goals. It just didn't happen for Olivier Giroud as Villa reach a major European quarter-final for a 3rd consecutive season. 2-0 on the night. It finishes on aggregate. Aston Villa 3, Lille 0.
These are the Conference League as well. So Connor and Dion, we said at half-time, didn't we? And Dion, I was completely wrong. I thought it was going to be nervous, it was cagey. But John McGinn just seemed to unlock it for Villa in that second half.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. I mean, Martinez, to be honest with you, Martinez had the ball in his hands, and I'm thinking to myself, is he going to try and, create a fast break? Olivier Giroud was stood right in front of him, and he still had the mindset to just get out of the way and just swing his right foot. He put it over the defender's head, and I mean, the rest is history. I mean, Sancho down the right-hand side, McGinn ran 50 yards as well. Captain's performance, Villa did really well. I believe they've got a few more gears to go through to really be potent in this competition, but when you play professionally like this and you get over the line with good organisation, good leadership, it's enough sometimes.
Yeah, we talked, Connor, didn't we, beforehand about the fact that Villa really kind of looked a bit lost. They lost the heart of their midfield with John McGinn, obviously a key part of that as well. But how